Thank you for double-clicking your mouse tonight. You're listening to the Midnight Fright Cast in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Midnight Fright Cast special bonus episode, Prairie Lights Film Festival edition. This is your Greg the Movie Guy, the Dr. Filmonomics, sitting down here in the basement studio, but a different basement studio. We are in the basement of the historic Grand Theater here in Grand Island, Nebraska. Sitting across from me is Patrick.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
And to the left of him, still across from the table from me, to his right, maybe my left, I don't know, is Josh.
Yeah, I'm here.
Act a little bit more enthusiastic.
I'm here at the Prairie Lights Film Festival. It's Friday, and I'm still laying
that was
all night.
a lot of red lights.
That was a lot of red lights on there. All right.
We are here on the opening night of the film festival, and we get to see some movies this evening. It's kind of exciting. Should we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, let's do.
All right.
Who wants to start in chat? Anybody? Everybody's hand went up. I'll call on Greg.
No.
You know, I think the Prairie Lights Film Festival has started this trend where it kicks off with a movie that just swings for the absolute fences. I think that was one of my absolute favorites from last night was... I want to make sure I get the title right.
Dreaming of a Better World.
Dreaming of a Better World, which was a documentary. Not a documentary, but a documentary.
Which is really cool that they opened the festival up with a documentary, because that's not a normal thing either.
Yeah.
Usually they saved those for Sunday at the end because I don't know why. But no, this one, just everything on all levels was absolutely fantastic. The story was great. I mean, you don't feel like you're going to get into a movie or be entertained or interested in a movie about organic corn making, organic corn growing,
organic farming, because he rotated the crops, and that's what made
that is true. Okay, organic farming. So now that I sound like an idiot, organic farming,
organic corn growing.
I'm tired. I was up late last night.
Organic planting of the seed and letting it.
Shut up, Pat. I was taken in from minute one on this movie, and everything about it was just absolutely fantastic.
I think what helped it is just incredibly charming. Mm-hmm. The main character, I don't want to say character because it's an actual person, with the Vetter Farms with his father and everything else. It being a family business, him going to school, learning a ton of stuff, coming back, and not just jumping into organic farming, but learning the land and everything else in a very organic way himself. Mm-hmm. I just thought was really made for an intriguing story. And then as it developed, how he's influencing the farmland around him with the other farmers in his area and everything else, that he just has this great influence on them to encourage them to grow organically as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I walked in, I think, the last 30 minutes of this, so I missed the first chunk of it, but what I saw, again, it's hard to sell a documentary, and even harder to keep somebody's attention during a documentary. So, but I was lasered in. So, especially for not really knowing 100% what was going on, what I saw was great. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And I would be interested to see if it is the actual Steve Buscemi who was the producer on this.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Because it's a very unique name. It's not like a lot of people would walk around with the name Steve Buscemi.
I'm changing it right now. Oh. I'm going onto the National Name Changing Registry. I'm changing my name to Steve Buscemi. Just FYI.
Okay.
Cool.
Interesting.
Well, we can put him on our stuff.
Yeah, exactly. We should all change our names to something more.
Who wants to be Steven Spielberg?
Well, we should all just be Steve Buscemi.
We could be the Buscemi production company.
Written by Steve Buscemi, directed by Steve Buscemi, lead actor Steve Buscemi.
All three different people.
Exactly. One, 2, and 3.
So she saw, this is really difficult to say, she saw Spectres from the Seashell.
Right.
Was the follow-up. Because after that was the only feature that played last night.
No, there was 2 features, but because...
there was 2 features.
Yes, because Unemployed was the second one.
Yeah, well, we'll touch on them all, and then hopefully we'll get
the director, writer, the filmmakers of Unemployed said they were interested in talking on the podcast.
Yeah. So she saw Spectres from the Seashell was the kickoff of the anthology project last night. Yeah, what did everybody? Let's touch on these really quick and see what everybody thought.
Well, first of all, and I don't mean this as a huge criticism, but for an anthology, it wasn't much of an anthology in the sense of there was nothing connecting these pieces together except they all played in the same night.
It was more of a block.
It was more of a block of short films because we had a sci-fi, we had a paranormal, we had two dark comedies that followed that.
There was a dark comedy, and then there was a really dark comedy.
And then there was a really dark comedy. Yeah. So like I said, it's not really criticism, just an observation.
Yeah.
The one thing that I love when we come here to Prairie Lights is to see what other people are doing in their little cinematic universe of Nebraska. And one of the cool things that I liked about the Seashells Spectres by the Seashore movie, a little help on the name because I don't remember what it was.
She saw specters from the seashell.
That one. It was interesting to see the story of it, and I don't fully understand or know that I fully understand what had happened with the story, but it was kind of a fun watch to see the lighter side of exorcism.
Yeah, he was the only filmmaker here, not here, I think, during that block last night. So I would have been really curious to see how that film came about. Mm-hmm. How people, because they talked a lot last night about how people came up with their ideas, and that was one I was kind of curious about how you come up with that, like what little things in that film were personal and stuff like that.
And that was directed by, who was that?
William Fisher.
Yeah, right.
And he had one here last year, didn't he?
I think so, yeah.
Do you remember which one that was?
I don't.
No, I'd be able to look it up if I wanted to go through the website. But I'm on my phone, and it's not an easy one to navigate.
Your phone or the website?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that one was followed by the one that I was particularly interested in checking out, which was I Belong to Me by Dorothy Boreum and Chad Hochschild.
Yeah.
A couple all-stars, Prairie Lights all-stars. Technically, I was blown away by what they were or what they did. They took a sci-fi script and turned it into like a post-world situation.
Yeah.
And that was written by budget.
Yeah, and that was written by our friend Tony Crumpton.
Yep, you're right. And how they portrayed that in the world that we live in and able to show a postmodern world, I thought they did a really, really good job with it.
Yeah, Dorothy and Chad are not only like Prairie Lights Hall of Famers, if you want to put them in that category, but they're two of my favorite filmmakers. I look forward. I think they've had something in here every year.
Yeah,
and I look forward every year to what they're bringing.
You know that when you're sitting down to watch one of their movies, you're going to see quality.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And my hat's off to them because they strive for that. They strive for that quality. That they know that they never want to put out something that is mediocre or anything like that. Yeah. And it really shows that all their hard work goes into it, and it really shows that they put that time into it.
They're passionate about what they do, and that's the one cool thing that I love. I know we get together with Chad every once in a while, and he's kind of the reason that we're here doing this.
Yeah,
he got us kind of kickstarted in this, so I love coming back and kind of going back to the source and seeing what they're able to do. Like Patrick said. So
and it starred a few people that we knew, and even one of our people we worked with before, Andrea Erlandson, who small role, but she did a really nice job with it.
Yeah,
I'd like to work with her more.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
For no money, no money on a sci-fi short. If that's tough, and they kick some cool locations too. They did,
and I think they made really good use of those locations to make it look postmodern.
Yeah, So we're not going to skip it, Patrick. I just
won't talk about it unless you have questions for me.
So, the next film made by one of the jackasses in this room, not named Josh or Greg.
What do you mean? What do you mean one of the jackasses? I'm the only jackass in the room.
Hey, save it because I've got mine tonight, so we can talk about.
Oh, we'll talk about you being a jackass later. That's for sure.
So we followed "I Belong to Me" with Patrick's tip. So
I've always wanted to show my tip at a theater.
Patrick's film, The Tip, which was kind of like the progression of that short, because it was quick. It was, you wrote it, and then minus the whole fuckery with finding locations.
Finding locations, right?
If you would have been able to find locations, that was like a month maybe turnaround.
Right, because I wrote it. Yeah, I wrote it in, and afternoon. I mean, because it was only 11 pages long, I think.
I don't even know it was that long.
11 or 12 pages long. Well, because it was dialogue heavy.
Yeah.
But the dialogue itself clipped along. So, yeah, I wrote that in the afternoon, shot it out to you guys, and you guys gave me some feedback. Tom gave me some feedback as well. Did some modifications. I mean, it was done the script itself was done in 2 days.
Yeah.
So if we were able to have jumped on filming it right away, we could have cranked that thing out in a week.
Yep.
Yeah. But location, and 6 months later, we're finally able to shoot it.
Yeah, it was one location, really, because it was that first location.
It was the one location. Finding the other one was fine.
Yeah. So it's just that's the difficult part of the game is location hunting and getting a yes from anybody.
Yeah.
So,
and I will say that after this weekend, it will be posted live for people to see.
Yeah, and the tip played really well last night.
I think it was. I felt it was received well.
Yeah, it played really
it's hard for me to tell because I was chuckling to myself.
Yeah.
So, I find my own stuff funny. I don't know if other people do or not.
It's tough until you throw it out into the crowd.
It really is.
You don't know.
Yeah.
So,
because last year with the contest, I thought that was funny, but it didn't get the reception that I thought it would.
Yeah, but you didn't write that either.
But still, it was one of those things where I thought it was smart. I thought it was written by my friend Jim Hanna.
Yeah.
Kudos to him because it was a really, really smart film, and felt that I just didn't think that it had the reception that I thought it would.
Yeah.
We got people walking past the door. You guys can say hello.
It's okay.
Hi.
Yeah, what is live?
Yeah.
No big deal.
That's probably something we didn't say. We're in the basement of the Grand Theater, and that's probably why it's so echoey in here.
Oh, did we not say that?
No, you may have, but I just wanted to say that's why it's so echoey down here, and we will have people walking in and out. So if there's any disruptions, we welcome it, actually.
Absolutely.
We followed Patrick's tip with... this is going to be the thing today. Patrick's tip.
Before we jump into that, I had one more comment.
Oh, go, please.
I am really appreciating this year in the attempts at comedy. I'm noticing that there's, even just in the last night, there's been a lot more attempts at comedy, and they've been decent comedies.
Right.
And I attribute that to you, and especially last year when we attempted our first comedy with the contest, because comedy is one of the toughest genres to approach.
I think it is difficult. You got to have the actors that can pull it off.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I did in the tip, but Tom definitely did a great job both this year and last year.
Tom's got really good timing.
He really does.
Yeah.
He really does. I will work with him any day of the year.
But you guys had a nice balance, and I'm trying not to fluff our own feathers here because obviously we had a hand.
But
in
you are
the
fluffer though.
Yeah, that's
whatever.
true.
But you guys had a really nice balance where Tom is the kind of the comedic relief, and you've got the balance of the more straight man.
Right. It's probably the first time I've ever been straight in my life.
Yeah, so he's not the one that got the room with the two queens.
God damn it. So that was Patrick's tip.
We followed that with...
Just to the point.
I mean, minus, again, not 2D Horn, but my favorite of the night was Lucy.
Right.
That's the one we're talking about next. Benito Garcia makes one movie a year. He makes it just for this festival, and he brings it and he shows it and he kills it every single year. I think I've said this the last few times we've podcasted. I've said it every single time we've done this. Ben brings it and he kills it every year. He's not fallen short.
No.
One time, and he always brings something different. The genres that he dances around in, it's not like, because he lives in a horror kind of world throughout the year with all the effects he does, and then he goes to make a film, and it's not, you think he's going to make just a crazy horror film, and he never does. Well, last year he did. Last year
the one exception.
We're not allowed to talk about last year.
But the year before that with the cobbler and all the other stuff, I mean, he and this one, he walked a tightrope.
Yeah.
On this one, because it could have gone either way with the subject matter that he was dealing with, because he did a very, very dark comedy about
Let's dive into it.
It's the rape fantasy, is what it is. And like I said, it could have gone one way or the other. And during the discussion afterwards, he discussed why he went ahead and added comedy elements to it, because he could have, and it was originally intended to go, I think, really, really dark.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he chose this way, actually, because we get to see, we haven't necessarily seen comedy from him.
Yeah, I think some of the comedy was Jeremy.
Right,
because he wrote it with Jeremy.
You know, but still, being the director behind it and stuff like that, he's still got to understand the timing and everything else. And he had some really good actors in this one, and I think he was able to pull this off without making it. I don't want to say without making it offensive, but without making it really disturbing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely.
And he got the standout was Moyer, and Moyer just again every year he's in 9 things, and it's
9
always,
to 53 things.
Yeah, it's always fun to watch Moyer because again he's never the same way in any movie you see him in. He's always different. He's always kind of a character. You never really see Moyer, but he's always really fun to watch.
Right.
We saw him twice last night,
and there was a lot of new faces in that one, people I'd not seen and stuff.
Yeah.
I know that the one actress was also in the Seashell movie.
Was that Katie Otten?
I'm not sure of the name.
Okay.
Once again, me and mobile stuff. Hi there, Dorothy.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Going all right. Are we going to be able to pull you down at some point to talk to us?
I would love to come down.
Awesome.
Talk to you guys.
That would be great.
I want to go through here and look at the manager.
Oh, go right ahead. Go through if you guys want to look. Go through.
Everybody.
You're not interrupting anything.
No, we're just
God, I can't believe these people walking through.
chatterbox. How rude. Yeah, we were talking about that.
But the new faces in the movies last night. There was a lot of people I'd never seen.
Yeah.
In the 4 years I've been coming, and
which is kind of cool because it looks like that means people are starting to open themselves up and dive into this venture.
Right.
So.
Well, and also, I don't know if it's because we have more filmmakers this year, if we have different filmmakers this year, or if filmmakers are finally saying, I can't do everything with my friends. I've got to go out and find different talent.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because that's how you start. You bring your friends together and you toss them in there and see how it lands. But
but you don't want to keep bringing them back every single year.
Yeah.
It's like, these guys again,
But yeah, so Lucy was my probably my standout last night.
It's a really good one.
And then they finished the night with a feature. There was a second feature of the night. And a movie that I was looking forward to. I heard so many really good things about the movie just before going into it. Jeremy Lebash is unemployed.
Yep.
And hopefully we'll pull him down today and get a chat with him about how he came up with that.
Yeah, because one of the things I do want to talk to him about, and he brought this up in the talkback discussion last night, was it felt very episodic to me going through it, that it seemed like a group of scenes as opposed to having fluid storyline throughout the entire thing. And he said this in his talkback that, yes, it was originally intended to be sketch comedy, that it was going to be a series, like a web series or something like that. So that's kind of how it felt to me going through that. While entertaining, there was some times where some things, it didn't have the connection throughout. And that he did explain through that at the talkback. So it's not like I'm knocking it for it, because he acknowledged that. Yeah.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Yeah, so I enjoyed.
And the one guy, he carried 90% of the movie. I don't think he was not on screen. There was very few times that he was not on screen.
The bigger guy,
yeah, the main character,
and he was actually there last night.
Yeah,
I actually I looked over that at him, and then we got to that point in the movie where I don't want to say anything. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a point in that movie where I just could not look over at him anymore. It was,
is this when he was testing the products?
Yes, when he was testing the products, I could not look over there anymore. I was like, oh man, I've seen everything. I don't want to see anymore.
Right.
So, well, out of that crew, there was only one guy's butt we didn't see in that movie. That
is true.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Butts.
Butts galore.
And I think that was the one thing when we were talking to Jeremy about how, because we have to show that movie late. They have to show that movie later because of the content. And we were asking, I was like, well, why is it rated R besides language? And he's like, is there nudity? Or he's like, yeah, there's just a bunch of dude ass in it. So I was like, all right, well.
Hats off to those guys, though, because there's no way I'm dropping trow in a film. No one wants to see my back with a crack.
One dude did an entire scene completely naked and just had his...
the doll in front of him. Yeah.
So I was like, good for you, man.
Then he gets to lounge on the couch with it and all that. I ain't sitting there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was Friday. We have a ton of content to go watch today. Hopefully we'll go hunt down some filmmakers, and then we will we'll come back.
Absolutely.
Cool.
All right.
We'll be right back.
So let's take a break.
Woo!
We're back. Midnight Frights podcast.
We should have Matt just bring it back and confuse everybody.
I'll do. What do you want me to say? You coming back from like a commercial break?
Yeah, we just said we're going to take a break, go watch some more movies, and then come back. We're already rolling.
That's cool.
I don't know where I'm getting that.
Are you hearing that popping?
Yeah. I don't know where I'm getting it from, though.
No, yeah, good call.
Welcome.
All right,
back to
Matt,
Midnight
tell me.
Fright
Okay,
Podcast.
so I don't think I've ever said your last name correctly. And every time I do this, you're like, how do you think you say it? And then I say it, and then you're like, you're wrong, dickhead. Don't say it like that. It's like this. Is it Kister?
Yes, that's the proper pronunciation. But people
Kister.
also say Kister. They
Yeah,
say Kister.
I've
They say
never-
all sorts of things.
Okay, but it's
yeah.
Kister.
Keister's the unfortunate one, isn't it?
It's not that big a deal because it always brings up an interesting conversation. So, like when somebody says that, it broaches the subject to be able to engage with that person.
Yeah.
We
So-
should just use this, Patrick. Just use this. We're back now.
Yeah.
We've been recording
Yeah,
for 2
so
minutes
yeah,
already.
That's. I feel like that was a more like just mellow way to bring it back. Anyway, it's just right.
Well, I thought I'd start it when Matt just already said,
Yeah.
and we're back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, cool. So
Come on, dude, keep up.
Well, I mean, I didn't realize that we were using.
You're an
that part,
old hand by this point. You
But
should
yeah.
know how this stuff works.
Yeah, Matt Kister is the program director. Is that what you'd call? Is that what you're
I
saying
don't know.
The title is.
Festival drive. We don't
Festival
really care
director?
about titles at Prairie Lights. Titles.
Yeah, but you can't say that because you give everybody that jumps in to help a title.
That's because
You
makes
make
them
some
feel
shit
good.
up, and you're like,
Yeah.
you're the new creative director of.
Yes, that is true because people they get proud when a title is bestowed upon them.
Yeah,
I don't know
gotcha.
if you've ever seen The Office with
Yes.
Steve
Dwight.
Carell.
Yeah.
Dwight, assistant
Assistant to the regional manager.
We've gone down the rabbit hole.
It's
of The
just
Office.
a title. But I will say, maybe I've already told you guys this, and if your listeners have heard this from me before, I apologize. But my name has always been an interesting issue because my name was never supposed to be Matthew. Do you know what it was supposed to be?
I've heard this
Matthias?
story before.
It's supposed to be Joshua.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It was supposed to be Joshua, but my mom did not know how to spell it, so she freaked out. And then she goes, well, I'm going to name him Matthew instead. And she forgot the T, so I only
Yeah.
had one T. So she misspelled Matthew. So that's me. Oh, hi, ladies and gentlemen.
That's the origin of Matt. Matt,
You can call me Josh, though. That's cool.
that's cool.
Podcast guy.
Hey.
Oh, hey,
Hey.
Ben, jump in, sit down.
Yeah, grab a chair, grab
You're
a microphone.
stealing my thunder, Ben. This is my big moment.
know.
God, this is what he always does to me.
But Matt, let's talk about
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Bringing the festival back around again this year. This is year 6.
Yep.
So you've done this 6 times. You've tried to kind of. The word is not pawn. The word is kind of like
Delegate authority.
Delegate, yeah.
That's the diplomatic way to put it.
Because I think you're ready for a kind of a break.
Yeah, I'm
little
ready
bit?
to go.
Yeah.
And I've been ready to go for a while.
Yeah.
And you know this. We've
Yeah,
had
yeah.
conversations about this
Yeah.
before. It's one of those things. Tom Knoblauch and Ben Matukewicz, and you and Mark,
Yeah.
this year sort of delegating a little more authority to people, and just sort of saying, hey, these people are interested. They want to help. What are you willing to do?
Yeah,
so to speak. And it's gone pretty well so far. I don't know if I'll be able next time just up and vanish.
Yeah. Try anyway.
Ghost out.
Yeah.
But I think the plan is for Prairie Lights 7 this next coming year to give a little bit more
Yeah.
away and be like, okay, well, how about now you're going to do the entire programming schedule? Can you handle it? Can you do it?
Would you have managed that you're making it to 7 on this?
What's that?
Would you have imagined before that you would have made it to 7?
Oh no!
Okay.
No. It's a very. I'm very proud of it. We were having this conversation late night Tommy's 5:30 in the morning, talking about there's always the issue, and I'm totally cool. And by the way, where's Maddie? Come on, Come on, Maddie. What the hell? Anyway.
She couldn't make it.
Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh.
You're welcome.
And as you know, I'm very open and honest about the good things about the festival, the bad things about the festival, on what can be improved, what can't be improved, and how do we get to a certain space. For the longest time with the Prairie Lights Film Festival, it was always like to go like, man, we got to pack this place. What do we possibly do to pack this place? And as I've done this throughout the years have gone by, I've sort of realized I'm like, it's just not going to happen. And it's not because of anything or any lack of trying or anything like that. Mark's stealing my thunder now too? Jeez.
But have you ever gone back and gone, could I pack a place in Lincoln or Omaha?
We actually discussed that last night.
Oh, really?
This was while you left us at Tommy's and never came back to hang out.
I suck. I do this every year.
You would have known about all of this insider info last night. And in Peter O'Brien, who's a good friend of mine, who has a film playing tonight, Running Through Darkness, he brought up a really interesting thing. He said that what he loves most about the Prairie Lights Film Festival is the overall mission statement of it, which is, anybody can be in it. We don't have awards. We don't have this. We don't have that.
Yeah.
And that's super. He super respects it and finds that to be the best part of it.
We're playing musical chairs right now.
We are playing musical chairs because since
I feel like I need like a tracker.
This is like the most people we've ever had on the cast at one time. So.
Yeah.
We're dancing.
No, we've had a few people join us since Matt has.
Do we need? Musical chairs music.
You're really close to that.
We can edit that in. We can
Mark, I'm bringing your microphone down a little bit. Wow, you completely blew us out there.
Sorry, man.
Well,
I'll keep going.
You didn't know.
Where was I? Okay.
Lincoln, Omaha.
Oh yeah. So, and the thing came up like the very thing, and I've come to believe this as well. The very thing that I think makes Prairie Lights unique and special is the very thing that hinders it from growing, because there's a certain sort of like, most film festivals have, we have a criteria that must be met, a certain quote-unquote quality level must be hit, and we bring films from outside Nebraska and other things that people, that brings more people to the festivals, right?
Yeah.
Whereas when we're doing a festival that's just about Nebraska films, it's always going to be a niche thing.
Yeah.
It's always going to be niche, especially in our location and all this stuff. So fast forward to your conversation about would it play in Omaha? And I think it would. Just because Omaha and Lincoln are much more so Omaha than Lincoln. But Omaha is a much bigger film community. It's easier to get the word out. It'd be easier for people to arrive and show up and stuff like that and not have to spend money to stay for an entire weekend and all that stuff. I do think it would play better in Omaha. However, the whole thing is the Grand Theater, right? It's and that lends itself to a part. I'm comfortable at this point saying we gave it our best shot to get this place packed. I would love to have it packed on a Friday night and a Saturday night, but there's nothing else I can do after 6 years to try to get people out here. If they don't come, they just don't come. So the Prairie Lights Film Festival, what it is to me, is sort of like this unique sort of intimate gathering of friends and filmmakers, and there's still a lot of people that come and watch these movies. They're like, but it's never going to be something as super huge and everything. And I'm cool with that. I'm comfortable with that. And when I ultimately hand this thing over, whoever takes the baton and runs with it, if they can find a way to pack this place on a Friday, Saturday night, I tip my cap to them because we've done everything we can, and it's okay to be okay with this is what it is, because I still think it's great.
It's like everything short of having thousands of dollars in order to do mass communication or anything like that.
And that's not going to happen.
You just don't have those types of funds.
It's not going to happen for us, and that's all right.
Do you think, though, that this has encouraged people in Nebraska to go out and try to make a film? You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
We have a place where I can submit my project, and it'll just play, and it'll be really cool to see it. It's kind of inspired.
The best example of that is Tom Lombard. It was Jesse's Chili.
Jesse's Chili was his first one, yeah.
Tom Lombard came to Prairie Lights the year before he screened that, and he came up to me and he told me, he's like, and he's in his 60s.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's been my dream to make a movie. He's like, and I came to Prairie Lights, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. This was so cool. It was so fun. And he goes, if I made a movie this year, would you screen it? And I was like, absolutely. And then he filmed a movie, screened it, and a dream was fulfilled. Vincent Smith is another one who's making movies just because you're like, oh, wow, this is great. He's making
high school.
Yeah, high school. Yeah. He was making contacts and networking and, getting movies. And Benito worked on one of his films, and I can't wait to see it this evening because I did not know that he's acting in it. So it's going to be
very,
fantastic.
very, very interesting role.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely think we've never gotten any sort of negative feedback from filmmakers in the sense that of the festival being an open place where everybody can screen their movies. Mm-hmm. Now, we have gotten negative feedback from filmmakers in the sense of, why are you putting my movie in this time slot?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I can't put 53 movies between 4 and 9 p.m. on a Saturday night. I wish I could. I cannot do it. But in terms of like just the atmosphere and everything like that, it's always been positive in that aspect. And that's what I hope it does in the future. Like, I super appreciate you guys. I mean, you guys make movies for this festival. You guys come out, you do your podcast, you do all your stuff. And I know I like to, kid around with Josh a lot in particular because he's like a punching bag of mine.
I think he's a punching bag for the rest of us as well.
I feel your pain, man.
I'm going to bring actually a punching bag shirt next year.
No, it's like Josh, in total honesty here, like, you are a great dude and you do a lot for the film festival, and I super, super appreciate it. I know everybody has busy lives, and you've expressed like, man, I wish I could do more and stuff like that. And everybody does, but like the things that you guys do, making the movies for the film festival, I mean, this festival is sort of about you guys. It's not about me. Yeah, I might be the director of the Prairie Lights Film Festival or creative director, amazing god-like figure of whatever. That's my No. I don't think any of us have said that. But the festival was always designed for you guys. It's for the Nebraska filmmakers, right? You guys are the ones here. You guys are the ones that get to show your stuff on the big screen, and you guys are the ones that get to sort of hang out with all your friends and colleagues and stuff like that. It's designed for you guys. And I think in that sense, it's always been a success, even in the years that we did, like the first couple of years. I mean, like, it was rough. There wasn't a lot of people here. But the camaraderie and the fun, and like, man, we're going out again next year. And it's built. It's built every year slowly. I'm not saying it's skyrocketing, but it's built.
Even an uptick of submissions, right? You get more and more, including outside of Nebraska. Film still people.
A lot of
India.
Arabic. A lot of Arabic films. Iran is a big one that sends in. Oh, yeah. It's very weird.
They must have a Nebraska in Iran.
You know what? You want to know something really, really frustrating to me is, like, I put on the Film Freeway page because I started getting all these submissions from other countries in the world. I'm like, this must have been filmed in Nebraska. If it's not, and you don't explain how it was, it will be disqualified. And so in their description, they just put yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I had one guy from India. He made this like Hindu goddess film about love. And I was like, how does this relate to Nebraska? And he goes, Nebraskans have love, just like And I'm like, thank you. That's cool. Disqualified.
That's really nice. No.
That was a good Indian accent, too.
Yeah. So since Matt joined us, we actually had 3 more people join us in the room. And with us, we now have Benito Garcia.
Hello.
And star of his film, and that's Kat Walsh. Yes. Correct? Okay.
Hello.
And Mark Popejoy joined us.
So
they're all going to be jumping in on this conversation as well, and I'm sure we're going to have some specific questions for them as we move on.
But only I'm allowed to talk, though.
Yeah. We'll ask
everything. Your microphone's on.
Yeah. We'll ask Mark a question, and then you can just give us the answer.
Yeah, these are all fake questions.
But Mark, you've stepped up.
He knows my life.
2
We're
years.
here to prop Matt's head up.
What's that?
We're here to prop Matt's head up.
Yeah.
You stepped up, Mark, the last 2 years in the festival as a bigger role and taken on more. Well, you've taken on you've taken on everything in Nebraska. You're like the busiest person I think I've ever met film wise. But how have you kind of transitioned into doing more stuff here?
Well, that's a good question because actually this year I felt like I've done less. To be honest,
I tried.
100% honest because when Matt asked me to come on as assistant director, first it was MC, and I was like, oh man, this is awesome, and then come on as assistant director. And last year was my busiest year here because I was here opening. At 5, on Friday night, open Saturday morning with opening statements. I was here for every QA in between breaks. I set up we had last year we did auditions in between.
Yep.
I set up, and it was a madhouse in here trying to set up for auditions. We didn't have all the equipment.
I didn't even show up for the deadline.
So last year was my busiest year, and this year, Matt has probably mentioned, we brought on Ben and Tom and Josh, and it's just been like I feel like I've done way less this year because I didn't even do any radio or TV promotions that I had done in the past couple of years. I wasn't asked to be, interviewed for any promotional stuff. Ben kind of took that and ran with it, and
he did a great job.
Man, hats off to that guy.
Yeah, I saw a lot more promotion this year,
all the graphics
which was really nice.
And
yeah.
he reached out to me. He's like, "Is there anything I can do to help?" I was like, "Wow,
Yeah.
actually, yes.
Yeah.
Would you like
Nice.
to do this?" And he ran with it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, Mark, is you don't do anything and you should be cut loose? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm
Is that what I
hearing.
hear?
Yeah, well, do with me as you will. I too sometimes maybe I should have the punching bag shirt on. Myself. If you've ever been on a Dead Lantern set,
I just jumped on the first one not too long ago. It was definitely a punching bag experience. It was awesome.
It's called hazing.
I left early.
Yeah.
You did. You
but
bailed.
as far as at one point we talked about taking over the director role, and I definitely was not ready for that at that time. And Matt has done an amazing job of setting this festival up, and whoever, like he said, whoever takes it over or takes the reins and runs with it, I know that they're going to do it in the same conscious that Matt has set it up for, to do that. Because like you said, I've said it from stage many times. I think that if you want to make a movie and go out there and do it, and here's the place to showcase it. If you're in the community, if you've ever wanted to get involved, here's the place to do it. Sometimes you feel like at bigger festivals, you feel like it's out of touch. Like these are untouchable, unapproachable. How do I get started? Here, it's like, come talk to me. I'll bring you in. I've had 15-year-old kids on my film sets that their mom would contact me, or a boyfriend that I've known. Like my stepson's making and doing movies off of his phone. Would you be willing to bring him onto your set? Yeah. Tell him, come on. You don't know who you're going to creatively spark into the next Spielberg 20 years down the road. You have no idea. Yep. So it's really about helping each other and stroking each other's egos, man. Keep going and doing what you do.
Yeah. And how great am I?
Oh, man. Fantastic creative director.
Thank you.
Godlike.
Now, hopefully we're going to get Tom and Ben on the podcast yet before they leave, but I want to know from you guys, is there any dirt you have on them that we can bring up while we're interviewing them?
Any dirt?
Or anything along the way that we could just embarrass them with?
Mud, whatever.
I have nothing.
I don't either.
You guys
They're actually really good dudes.
You guys disappoint me.
I can make something up if you want. You just hit him with it. Like,
we could just say Matt.
I do
Mark
know some.
said.
I do know some government. I know some government agents. We might be able to conjure some stuff.
There we go.
Ben's been quiet.
I've been. Well, Matt's fucking talking the whole time.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
I know you can.
Sorry.
You can
Matt's
interrupt
talking the whole
anybody.
time.
The bad words on here. You don't have to.
Yeah, there's
it's
no
fine.
censoring on this.
It's fine.
Okay.
We talked a little bit earlier, us three, when we kind of kicked out the intro. Talked about Lucy a little bit. That played last night. And I know you did your Q&A last night, so all this is going to be like regurgitated stuff and everything. But let's talk about it again.
Well, we have a cat here, too, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, we do.
She can put in her 2 cents, too.
Yeah, but so let's just talk about the origin really quick of Lucy and where it came from and how you, I guess, got the... I don't want to say got the nerve to do it because I don't think you've ever been really afraid of anything. But let's just talk about the origins of Lucy really quick.
Well, we make one film every year, and we make the film to show here, and that's really kind of, excuse me, that's really all that we're shooting for. We've never really sent anything out to other festivals or kind of ever thought on a larger level. And so as it gets to be, what do I want to say, early spring probably, then I start thinking about some creepy ideas and things that are a little off the rails or things that aren't, a common subject or something that we want to attack. And I don't even know where it stemmed from. I don't know why it popped in my head, but
Well, I thought it started from fetishes. I think we had a conversation when you and Jeremy were talking. You guys were exploring like the whole fetishes type thing, and that fetish
and
was
maybe that's where
was
it
a
comes
darker
from. Yeah,
was a darker one.
I didn't remember for sure where it came from, but yeah, somewhere along the lines, rape fantasy had come up. And
That's a thing.
Instantly, when I thought rape fantasy, when I thought about that, the first thing I thought was, what's the darkest story we could tell about a rape fantasy? And
Pay attention, viewers, because this would be the only time you hear the words rape fantasy on the podcast.
Is that what you're going to title the episode?
It might be rape fantasy.
Rape fantasy at Prairie Lights Film Festival.
Rape fantasy. Sorry, Ben, go ahead.
No, it's okay. And then, so we didn't do any research. I don't even know if I approached the subject correctly. In my mind, the movie we made is in my mind what a rape fantasy is. And to me, it was pretty cut and dry that it's a person, not necessarily a female, but a person who would like to be taken against their will and made love to violently.
Ben's deep secrets.
Projecting?
Maybe. But the original story was so dark, and I got so excited about it based on what had happened with my film from the year prior. We'd caught so much flack for that film.
Here we go.
Well, I won't go into that, but we caught so much flack for that film. I thought, you know what? F those guys. We're going to come back even harder this next time. And so
my friend.
we really thought about the darkest areas of rape fantasies, and we traveled down some sort of dark roads putting the story together. And we kind of got freaked out ourselves and thought that's just too heavy for anything, and let alone this film festival. It's fairly friendly, family wise, and we just decided we shouldn't go down that road. So then
there are warnings. There's warnings.
There's warnings
at the
up.
beginning of the festival that says after this time, the little kids might need to go home.
Sure.
'cause-
We also did that last year.
Yeah.
And
Benito
moms.
caused problems for me.
Yeah. So yeah, we were thinking, how could we go darker and heavier than killing babies with chainsaws from the year prior? And we really took some dark roads. But anyway, as it got so dark and so heavy as we were talking about it, we decided maybe this is too heavy. And so we thought maybe we could make it a lighthearted comedy, which in itself is tough because now you're trying to make something so violent and kind of horrible. It's funny.
It's this tight, and I talked to the guys about this earlier today, is that you had to walk this tightrope on
The subject.
on the subject itself, because if you go too far one way or the other, that's where you're offending someone or another. It's like you're not taking it seriously enough, or you're mocking, or you're mocking it, or you're taking it way too seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
And I felt that you handled that extremely well. That
Thanks.
the people that in the crowd that I thought might be offended weren't, and that really kind of surprised me because in the moment we started talking rape fantasy, I'm going, oh, here we go.
Oh my god, you should have seen me sitting there. I'm just like, oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Matt hadn't seen it yet.
No,
I
but
had not, yeah.
but I thought you kept it even all the way through, and to your credit, and to your credit as well as the lead actress on that, I just felt you handled the material well.
Well, our idea was to keep it tight between a husband and a wife. Rape fantasies can go in a whole lot of different directions, where maybe you want a stranger to come get you, or you purposely put yourself out there in situations where you do get raped to fulfill your fantasy, but it's by a complete stranger or a rapist. And so to keep it sort of like you said on that line was it should be your husband then.
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
Am I
please
allowed
do.
to? Did you do any research on rape fantasy before as you were writing the film, or is this just something like, oh, this is my idea of what rape fantasy is? Did you look up anything like what it is, what psychologists say it is, or anything?
No,
like that?
we didn't go that deep. I think I had enough general knowledge of what a rape fantasy was from whatever avenues or venues I may have ventured into.
That's another podcast.
It's a completely different podcast
Midnight Fright
altogether.
After Dark podcast.
So you keep saying the word we. So you wrote this with Jeremy Lebash, right?
Well, sort of. The plan was I was going to write the whole thing myself, and I had. My story was so dark and heavy. And what happens is I usually go to Jeremy because he's my cinematographer, my camera guy. And he always fucks with my script and changes it all up and adds all these things that he thinks would be cool, and they always turn out to be great. And as we were talking about my story, and we started feeling like it was sort of heavy. Then he started kind of interjecting some thoughts and ideas this time, and it was so many of them just over coffee that I really felt like I needed to give him credit on
I was just wondering how much of it, the comedy in there, he brought to it and he took versus did you do more of the darker stuff and he kind of brought the comedy to even it out? Was that kind of how it
No, I think we both hit the comedy pretty evenly.
Cool.
Yeah, once we decided we're getting away from the dark, super heavy subject matter and going a funnier, we just kind of started playing off each other with what we thought would be funny if somebody said or
Yeah. Do you write with people in mind?
I did on this particular one. I did. Eric Moira was always going to be the husband.
Okay.
Katie was always going to be the friend. And originally I had written it thinking it would be Julia.
Wow.
And so talked with her, and yeah, she was out pretty quick.
Yeah. I was like, whoa,
I was
Julia.
going to say, did you get any pushback at all from trying to cast this thing?
No.
It was like, I can't do that.
Well,
nothing you took out. Everything was in it.
Right, because we knew how we were going to write it or how we were going to shoot it was going to be what you saw. I mean, it was just not going to be a heavy rape scene, and it wasn't going to be super violent and things like that. And then I thought of Kat. I was like, man, she's perfect for this. Like, I don't know necessarily why we didn't go in that direction in the beginning. And then once the idea came up, we were just like, yeah, that's going to be awesome. So we got a hold of her right away, and you were on board instantly.
Yeah, I was down right away. I'm like, yeah.
So I think
never say no.
I think when I had written it originally, and when I was thinking of Julia in the beginning, I thought Julia is my friend. I'm going to write this script. I want to put her in something finally that I'm doing, and then like I said, she said she was out, and then we started brainstorming some things, and God, just came up instantly. It's like that's literally the perfect person for this role, and it really was.
Awesome.
Really, really was.
Well, I'd like to talk about Katie's performance a little bit later, but I want to bring Kat into this. And what did you think when you first read the script, when Benito presented it to you?
I don't know. I just found it's a lot different than what I normally do. I've never done a dark comedy. It just really, I don't know, it just intrigued me a great deal and something new and exciting, and I was just
rape fantasy.
Well, but that kind of brings me to my next question on how comfortable you were throughout the process, and I'm sure that you helped make her feel very safe in the environment and stuff like that.
I was totally fine. Yeah. It was easy. Yeah, it was.
I can attest to that. I came on the set that night that they were shooting that scene.
Sure
I was actually supposed to be. Well, I was originally supposed to be the invader.
Yeah. Of course you were.
Everybody goes to Popejoy for home invasion.
Anytime you need a man on top of like a girl, you go. I mean, you were in a film with mine. You were on top of Christina with a knife.
Bad heart.
Yeah.
Well, part of Mark being the rapist, the intruder,
the invader.
They're not zombies. They're infected.
Yes, I love it.
That's punching bag. Man, I got you. We're good, man. You can't hurt me.
No, but Mark was going to be the invader because part of the original story where it was really going to take a dark turn was we needed somebody with tattoos, and I know we could get Mark
Mark,
of a girl,
hey,
and he's
let's get the life commercial. Let's get Mikey. He'll eat anything. Let's get Mark. He'll kill and rape anything.
So last year, Mark chainsawing babies. This year, you're going to have him be a rapist. Wow. All right, Mark.
It's not my first rodeo. But I can tell you that when I came on set that night and met Kat for the first time, I mean, it was very lighthearted and fun in the room, and we kept it that way through the whole evening. And then as we got into the discussion, like, this doesn't make sense. This heavier, looking thicker, invader comes in, and then you're going to right away know, like, you didn't want to give away if it was a man or a woman, because it turns out to be a woman. I'm giving it away at the end, but so we decided to not put me in that
nobody will see
that role
after yesterday,
and we used Ben's wife Megan as the invader, and then they just shot everything close up. But as far as the set atmosphere, it was very lighthearted and fun, and we had a lot of fun that evening.
Yeah, and if we'd I think if we would have done the darker version,
Yeah, it would have been a totally different atmosphere.
That would have been a little tougher.
I'm curious, Kat, if he had wanted to go with the darker version of what he initially was talking about, would you have still done the role?
I don't know if she knows what the darker version
I don't
was.
know what the darker version
Oh, well,
is,
then never
but
mind.
Oh yeah,
I might have.
that might make a difference.
We might have to go down that rabbit hole later.
I just might have.
Well, I can tell you what I'll tell you what the darker version was, and it's not super violent. It's not super violent or anything like that. The original darker version of the story was everything was set up the same as the movie goes on, and she's talking to her husband about her rape fantasy, and he agrees, but sort of does it, sort of like whatever, we'll do it, but just blows her off. And when she does get attacked by the intruder, he blindfolds her and he's attacking her, and she thinks that it's her husband the whole time. But what the scene was is as she's getting attacked, her blindfold slides up, and as it slides up, she sees that the intruder has tattoos on his arm, which her husband has no tattoos, being from this religious community. And at that point, she had a decision to make, and the decision was to pull the blindfold back down
Oh, okay.
and go with it.
Yeah.
and so, we thought that was just...
So now that you know,
Yeah, I would have.
okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, you could, like you said, you could have went down a whole bunch of roads of darkness with this subject matter.
Mm-hmm. I think coming off of last year's film, it was probably the right thing to do to not do that and maybe go.
All dark roads lead to Mark Popejoy.
It really does. Well, I mean, Splitsville Productions has some really violent stuff in its very first outing.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was, we were in the same situation where we had people walk out of a festival that was a horror convention.
Yeah.
And they literally, people walked out.
That was one more time for the camera. Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Splitsville is probably going to do. I'm going to do 2 next year. I'm going to give one of the projects to Splitsville because it's pretty bad.
As
It's
all
really-
dark roads.
All dark roads.
It's very heavy. It's probably not the hardest, but probably the darkest film that I've come up with. And so I thought, who better to do it than Splitsville because that's right up their alley. And then we'll do another lighthearted one through my other production
Which is
company.
weird because if the film that we decide maybe gets off the ground next year, it's going to be the darkest thing that I've ever done.
Yeah, it's
for
pretty,
sure.
pretty dark, but it is so well written.
Don't spoil anything.
I won't, not a word. Mum's the word.
Now, the other people in the movie, we've got Eric Moyer. We all know that he's a film whore.
Dang.
Yeah, he was just in that film I just went upstairs to watch.
We kind of had a running joke going on that we were going to do the Moyer drinking game at Prairie Lights this year, and that anytime Moyer walked on
Cat's
screen,
dying, by the way. So
You guys don't have a
no one
compliment,
cares.
do you?
Everyone's just like
We had more questions.
but we had this idea of doing a drinking game that anytime Moyer came onto the screen that we would take a drink, and then we decided we just did not want to die from alcohol poisoning.
Well, even last night the conversation came up that there'd be the Lifetime Achievement Award for Moyer at
we're like, let's do a
the
Lifetime
Grand
Achievement
Theater.
Award next
You
year.
talked about just
retrospective.
doing a retrospect and putting all of his clips from every single movie he's been in. I mean, that'd still be a
day.
feature
You'd have to
film.
block
That'd be
Saturday,
that'd be all Saturday.
But the
We'll
other
put him
person,
on Sunday. That's where he deserves.
Put them on Sunday.
but the other person, Katie Otten. Katie Otten. Could you talk about her just a little bit?
She's super fun. I think Kat really enjoyed working with her. The two of them working off each other in the film was so fun for us to be on set and see.
There were little bits that she had every once in a while that just made me pee.
Yeah.
The whole hand to the mouth thing,
so
all that
amazing.
stuff was
Yeah,
just
that's fun,
really clever.
And looking up.
Oh, looking-
looking for God.
Again, how much is that of that is them, and how much is that you? Did you have that?
We had written
in
all
there?
that.
Okay.
Yeah, we had written all that.
Okay.
But she pulled it off perfectly.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
perfectly.
Yeah.
I really like when she stares off into space as she's hearing.
Yeah. You can tell
Hearing
she's
Lucy
thinking.
tell the story
she's
about-
thinking about it like big time.
and really like because I told Benito this last night. There when the scene starts happening, I'm like, oh my god, here we go. Because I thought this thing was going to end completely different. Like I wasn't expecting the end, which I was pleasantly surprised by. And I told Benito, it was like last year I was like I didn't like your film at all, but this year I was like I really liked the film.
Yeah, it was great.
And But it hit home for me even more because I've worked with Katie before. Yeah. She literally says, "I'm sorry, thank you," after every sentence she says. I mean, she is like literally the nicest person I've ever met in my life. I was not expecting that at all. And I was like, what? Nice. And I was like, wow, that worked. Perfect casting all around.
Yeah.
And that's what really, I think, nailed this film, no pun intended or anything, was just the perfect casting and all of it working. Because if you would have had a less talented cast, or if you would have miscast even one of those roles, the whole thing would have fell apart.
100% right. What was funny about her too is that even though you find out, spoiler alert, even though you find out that she is the rapist, she was still the sweetest rapist. She took the time. Yeah. She took the time. She's washing.
She's washing all this stuff.
She's washing her strap
sure it's
on.
Clean.
She has her little 50s dress on. And
oh, by the way, was that the same dress that Megan wears? That's okay. See,
it was the dress.
Is it the same? Is it a shared universe? Is that what this is? A shared universe of Benito Garcia.
Yeah. But she was amazing.
BCU.
Awesome. Now, were you super collaborative with actors and everything too? Because you said when you were talking yesterday, you said that line Moyer has about let's get tattoos. He had like 15 different variations of it.
He cut the best one.
There were so many. We probably did 15, and finally we're just like we have to stop. But instead of saying at the end when he says, I have a wild side and I think we should get matching tattoos, we just cut him loose and just let him come up with whatever the most. One of them was we should cash in all of our retirement money and buy an RV and go RVing. And then it was just every possible scenario to try to show his wild side, which was the most vanilla, wild side on the planet. But he had come to me and he said, "How do you want me to play this particular character?" And I knew that whatever I told him wouldn't be right, knowing Eric. So I just said, "You just do what you think is going to be right for this character." And I had all the faith in the world that he would nail it. I just didn't want the responsibility of screwing up the movie by telling him what I thought it should be. And he did. He came to film and came to set and was ready and prepared with this character, and we just died the whole time we were shooting that.
Yeah. Eric Moyer.
The Moyer.
Yeah, super fun.
No, that's my question so far.
Greg, you got any more?
Yeah, Greg, you've been awfully silent. Oh, I guess you don't have a microphone down there.
Oh, shit. Lean in there.
Josh Bogarting the mic over here. Good Lord.
I didn't realize that you didn't have one.
I think we've got the biggest guest setting that the Midnight Fright Cast has ever had.
Yes. A little bit, yeah. Yeah, because we're out of microphones.
Well, no, there's still one more microphone, but we're out of.
We're out of. Yeah, I don't have any more splitters. I can't.
So I can hook up a mic. It just won't be hooked up. So, no, I really don't have any questions at all. I'm just kind of sitting back and enjoying listening to all these stories. This is probably my favorite part of Prairie Lights, is listening to how the stories are getting made. And your short last night was probably one of the most favorite I've ever seen here.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much.
I sat my wife was in the crowd last night, and she remembered Down Under from last year, and I leaned over to her and I was like, "All right, this is the crazy one from last year."
Same guy.
I don't know what this is about, so be prepared for anything. And she was laughing the entire time.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I just highly praise everything that you've done.
Oh, thank you.
I absolutely love your talent and. Just how you come up with your stories and the twist that you put on your stories is just absolutely phenomenal.
That's my favorite thing. Is at the very end, I give you this great story, and at the end, I want to slap you in the face somehow.
Exactly.
And it was more subtle this time. Well, maybe it wasn't subtle, but
it was not subtle.
But like we could have easily stopped when she's doing the dishes and she pulls that ball gag out. That could have been the end, but we had to go that one extra little bit. And my Amazon order, that particular order, was crazy. It was a ball gag, a dildo, the strap-on mechanism the dildo goes in. We ordered a black ski mask.
Oh no!
So you're going to be on the watch list.
Yeah, gloves. But the funniest part of that whole order that I put in, there was also a gold cross necklace. So it was this whole big order of all this crazy shit, and then a gold cross necklace that Katie was supposed to wear. But actually, what most people miss in that film is she's wearing little red ball earrings.
Oh, I did not notice that.
Oh,
that was just a little thing for us. We were thinking, the ball gag is a bright red ball, and we gave her a little ball. earring.
Nice.
Nice touch.
Anything else, guys?
Yeah, hats off, Benito.
Thank you.
I enjoyed that film so much. The first time, I mean, we were laughing on set when I was there, and then when you showed it to me when you were editing it, I was like, this is good. This is good stuff.
I did give my wife that same warning that Greg gave his.
Oh, I thought you said
was
you
like-
gave your wife that same gift from
Ball gag.
Amazon.
That's my. Well, we created our order last night. I did give her the same warning because I was just like, Ben's coming next, and she's like, so I just gave her that second to get up and dart, but she didn't, and she sat through this one.
Yeah,
I
you
think
can't
last
automatically
year, I think
assume it's
last
gonna be
year
like that, you know?
she got up and was like, I don't know if I can do this one. But yeah, let's real quick before we wrap up here, go down the line and kind of talk about what's going on next with you guys.
Yeah.
All right, so right now we're in post production on Matt.
Don't talk about that. You have nothing to do with the post production. That's me.
I'm
Save
gonna
that for
talk
me.
about you. Okay,
Don't talk.
man,
Don't
sorry.
take all my
I was
shit
just
before
gonna
I-
say Matt is working on editing. The Chills Down Your Spine's anthology shoot. We didn't quite get to finish the entire film over the summer. We kind of had some weather issues, but some funny stories in that for another
I'm
podcast.
godlike, but I'm not God. I could not keep the rain away.
We finished filming a comedy sci-fi spoof, Return of the Robo Mummy from Outer Space,
Yep.
Part 7.
Starring Eric Moyer, of course.
I got to build up my tolerance for next year, is what you're saying.
I will
You'll be in mine
say
next year too. Yeah.
for Robo Mummy, I've seen a lot of Eric Moyer performances, and I think without a doubt this is the apex of Moyer performances. What he does as President Gruff in this is life changing. You everything he says, you're going to be just laughing your ass off because.
So at this point, you should probably retire.
You probably it's all downhill after Robo.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think we should change the name to Prairie Lights. Eric Moyers
Yeah.
presents something. We need to put
Eric
his name.
Moyer presents Prairie Lights Film Festival.
There you go. Yeah.
Featuring films by Eric Moyer.
And with the Splitsville Productions, we're filming a short film called Hell the weekend before Halloween. I don't know when this podcast is going to air, but we're going to film that the weekend before Halloween.
It'll come out before that.
Yeah. So that short should be good. Nate Colomb wrote it. I think he'll be directing it, and I think Wetworks will be on set and for that one as well.
Working hard right now.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that, and there's just a bunch of stuff coming down the line. I mean, I was lead detective in a role called Stab 3 over the summer.
Okay.
I don't know when
exactly.
I don't know exactly when Kevin Beacom is going to be done editing that, but that took place over the summer. So just looking forward to finishing this coming year, The Chills Down Your Spine, and I'm looking for I'm in search of that golden egg of distribution for Shivers Down Your Spine and the Chills Down Your Spine anthologies, and hopefully land that golden egg to get the third installment done. And then I have a web series idea to spin off of it.
Cool.
Awesome.
Matt.
All right. Hold on. You guys
God.
got 15 minutes, right? Still want 15 more minutes? No, I'm just kidding. See, I miss podcasting. I miss podcasting. Just to sort of piggyback off what Mark said, this fall into the winter, DJ and I, every Monday night, 7:30 on Google Hangouts, anyone's willing to join and just hang out and comment on the crap we're doing. That we're finishing Chills Down Your Spine, everything that we've shot. 2 of the films were rained out, unfortunately, including the Western that we had planned to film. But we're going to shoot those in the spring, hopefully, to finish out Chills Down Your Spine. Mark mentioned the distribution angle. Actually got an offer. We won't go into the details, but we got an offer for Shivers Down Your Spine. But we are playing the field.
We're gonna table that.
We're going to see what some of our options are. And in the meantime, we had planned to spend next year convention hopping, like to go to a ton. And as Josh can probably attest, DJ and I's pitch skills are are
on point.
Yeah, we can move product. Let's just say that, because I don't know if your listeners can sell. I like to talk. It's
I don't think you're necessarily convincing them it's a good film either. I think you're just pounding them till they finally just buy it so they can get away from it.
Wear them down. Always be closing. Coffee is for closers.
Coffee's for closers.
So what I told Mark that I would do, and you guys are well aware of my hatred for Isabel. It's a movie I made. Absolutely despise it. It's screened once here at the Prairie Lights Film Festival. I did that.
It's played really well, too.
It's an amazing movie.
I did that just because I felt. I mean, I had to show it to people.
Well, you owed it to the actors and the crew that put all their time into it.
And then I shelved it. And
Mark is having it unshelved.
It's unshelved. No, well, let's back up the boat. You're not having it unshelved. I am volunteering to unshelve it.
Disney's opened.
Well, I've been bugging you pretty heavy.
Matt's opening the vault here. So what I'm going to do is I'm spending this winter putting it out on Blu-ray. So I'm currently working on all of the bonus features, deleted scenes. I mean, we have stuff that Mark didn't even know we shot. I just told him about it last night.
Yeah, well, I came on that production
Andrea
halfway
Erickson
through.
was in Isabel. Does anybody know that?
No.
There you go. I mean, I have footage for days. So I'm digging all that stuff out of the vault and going to put it out on Blu-ray. And when we're going to spend most of next year convention hopping, and I'll be printing 500 Blu-rays of Isabel, 500 Blu-rays of Shivers. We sell all those at $20 a pop. That's $20,000. And that will hopefully fund something else.
It'll finish Chills Down Your Spine.
Yeah, for sure.
It'll help pay back some of the producers that so generously gave towards the production of Chills over the summer, and then we can hopefully take what's left of that
in
and
film,
put that into the next.
In film, Bring Me the Head of Benito Garcia.
That's in
that's for Tingles Down Your Spine, which is the trilogy. It finishes out the trilogy.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll be working on. In the meantime, I'll be finishing Robo Mummy, which is a feature in and of itself. So by the time next year rolls around, we're going to have Shivers, Chills, Robo Mummy, and possibly another feature. So my schedule is pretty packed.
Yeah, for not wanting to make films anymore.
Yeah, I know.
2 years ago.
And that's the funny thing is I'm just like, my fiance every day, she's like, I thought you retired.
We talk about this. We talked about this last night.
I thought
we
you
tried
were
to figure
done.
out how he got roped back into making this.
Yeah, and when I was helping out with Before the Compound, doing the edit that day, and my fiance is sitting there, she's like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, why? You're supposed to be retired, and now you're helping another person do their movie. I'm like, he's my friend, and I'm going to help him out.
I'm sorry I got you in trouble.
No, you didn't get me in trouble. It was just kind of, she's like, why do you keep doing this? I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing.
Benito. You got.
Well, like Mark said, we're in pre-production for the short Hell. It's quite a bit of fun stuff for that one. It's not a lot of blood and guts.
No.
So it's nice to kind of get away from that sometimes and do more creature creation. So super excited about that.
I want to do creature creation so bad.
And we've got I've got a couple of meetings coming up in one meeting next week, and then another one after that for some films that are. I think we're going to shoot those in the spring, but getting a hold of us early so that we can start to plan things out and get budgets together and do those type of things. So there's that. But generally, it's nice because most people aren't filming in fall through late winter or early spring.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives me a chance to. I love to paint. I love to sculpt. And it really gives me a chance to get my hands on those things that not that I don't enjoy the other stuff, of course I do, but these are things that are for me and not for someone else's project. So just kind of take the winter and enjoy it.
Awesome.
Kat, you got anything? You got any?
I have a couple projects that I'm working on. There's a film in Sioux City that I've been working on. It's a full feature film, Haunted Cries. It's with sex trafficking is kind of what that
I'm starting to see a
touches
thing.
on. And that one's pretty brutal. I actually got angry because of it's a pretty violent. It is violent. I get horribly. I get murdered, and it's quite awful. And then the other one is this one. We haven't done anything yet. It's a short. I have to go to Iowa in November. It's Elden Quest, and so I play the part kind of like a witchy, creepy girl.
Oh, that's
Michael Bergman.
Michael Bergman. Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I've done one other short with him. I'm a Bagman, did that, and yeah, he's a pretty awesome dude.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome to work with. So.
Yeah, I hope we see more Kat in the future.
Yeah, and hopefully,
she's very good.
I want to come back down for.
I'd say now that we've met her, you're definitely on our radar for when we're producing our films as well. So
they say that I've been on their radar for years.
Well, once you work with Popejoy,
We work together.
But she's a woman,
I know.
and you're a weird, creepy rapist guy.
trust me,
I'll
Mark.
give you
The
that.
next
I'll give
time
you
we
that.
need a weird, creepy, rapey guy,
You'll be the first we call.
you'll be the first person we call.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you.
Well, that means a lot,
Anno.
Matt.
I'll go.
One
Matt.
final thing, just to plug Prairie Lights for your listeners out there who might be local filmmakers and whatnot. I'm sure by the time this podcast airs, the Film Freeway page is open for submissions for next year.
Don't wait.
Yeah, don't wait, because once again this year we had a filmmaker.
And we have to have time to make the thing.
The last
Yeah,
day.
I literally was like, "We're done," and they're like, "Well, here's my movie." I'm like,
Sorry.
you had a year to put this in. So be sure to check that out. Once again, huge thanks to all the filmmakers, you guys for putting in all the hard work. I'm putting up with my horrible jokes about all of you. It's been great, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next year, because I think next year there's a lot of stuff. You're gonna see multiple feature films and all sorts of interesting things that are coming. So I'm actually more excited about next year's Prairie Lights, just because I know what's being made and what's going to
A
screen.
lot of good stuff being made right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are you planning to do both films for Prairie Lights next year, or just?
Well, the one that I'm going to shoot myself, I know for a fact, will be my Prairie Lights submission. This other one, I came to Splitsville with this horrible little film idea. They're super busy, so my film I 100% expect to be put on the back burner. So I don't know that it will be.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know that I probably shouldn't take up 2 spots with so many people wanting to submit films, but it's kind of up to their shooting schedule and how their time frame is on putting it together.
Gotcha.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for hanging out.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I guess we'll be back with the next group of people.
Will Maddie be back?
No,
'Cause I'm very disappointed. She's
Not this weekend.
Not
Can't
this
give
weekend,
Maddie
no.
shit
Yeah.
when I need to.
Come on in Lincoln and you can give Maddie shit. Whenever you want to. All right.
All right, let's take a break.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Midnight Fright Cast. We are back with 2 new guests. Tom Knoblauch. I'm going to fuck your names up. I'm just going to be really honest with you. Tom Knoblauch, correct?
Knoblauch.
Knoblauch. See, I told you. I screwed up.
See, kind of like the Huskers offense.
Yeah. And
too soon? Too
Ben
soon?
Matukewicz.
Wow, you got that perfect, actually.
Boom on.
Wow.
Sorry, Tom.
That's okay.
I practiced too.
You're
I
close.
Really fucked it up. Yeah, so you guys just screened Green on Green.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into that, what I wanted to hit on really quick before we talk about the movie was your experience for the first year being a part of the Prairie Lights team, I guess. Production side, yeah.
Yeah.
And your experience and how you got involved and how kind of, just your experience being on this side this year.
I mean, so far we've loved it. Basically, how we got involved was last year. How many was that? Our 3rd film last year?
Yes.
Okay, so basically we felt like we had 3 experiences under our belts and kind of felt like there was something we could offer because we love coming here every year. There's so many cool people, but we kind of started to think, how could we get involved? How could we, because we would kind of come here and see our films and hang out and then kind of go home. And so we thought, how do we get more involved with people? How do we meet more people and contribute a little bit to the event? So we talked to Matt last year about maybe getting involved. And the timing didn't quite work out last year because we had something premiering that first night, so we're kind of focused on promoting that. So then, I came on to help as a media coordinator. My background is in branding and social media management and event planning and stuff like that. So I, volunteered to help out with some of the branding and the social media, and it kind of turned out that, Matt was looking for that to be revamped anyway. So I was very happy to help out with that. And then Tom and I with Exarban Creative have a little bit of experience sort of on the event planning side. So that's kind of how Tom got involved, wanting to sort of get involved with filmmaker Q&As and stuff like that?
Well, I've had some experience even going back to college doing interviews, and so I like to do the Q&As, especially after things. I've done that for a few local premieres just in Omaha, and so it seemed like something that we could handle, and so if there was an opening for it, we'd be good for it.
Yeah.
And so, it just happened to basically play to our strengths, I guess, for what they were looking for this year, and so then we were able to sort of jump on and see what else we can do.
Yeah, so you got involved pretty late, right, Tom?
Yes.
As far as they needed a MC, I guess.
Well,
right.
I'd asked to do it like 6 months ago, and
Okay.
then they kind of said, I don't know, maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
And then like 3 weeks ago, they said, hey, actually, why don't you just do it? And
Yeah, that's cool.
See, and like Matt had said, I think it was more about Popejoy just not wanting to do
I think
anything
he's
anymore.
burnt out,
So the more you guys took over, he was like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, you can take that. You can take that. You can take that.
Yeah.
And now we know that Mark does absolutely nothing at Prairie Lights.
Yeah. So doing that, and then your own films, you guys got pretty busy this weekend. I had a question going, and I forgot my fucking question.
That's really great.
Feel free to jump on that mic and make it hot, Patrick, please.
No. You had mentioned Exarban Creative. Now, that's something fairly new. So talk about that just a little bit.
That's basically the revamp of what we tried to do originally. So, as you guys probably remember, we used to be under Fatherson Productions, which was a very goofy name for a production company. And it was kind of just that, goofing around and making movies and see if we could do it.
Ben stopped calling me dad in public. Yeah. So.
That was based on an inside joke that no longer was relevant.
It was time to move on.
Yeah. But what we kind of realized was that we had not only, some skills and different things, but people that were interested in doing things beyond just, making feature-length films. There were people who wanted to make short films but didn't really know how to do that, and we knew we could help out. People, including Tom, who have a passion for podcasting, which obviously you guys know how that goes. If you don't have the equipment or you don't know how to do a podcast, that can be kind of difficult. So,
to be fair, when we started, we had no idea how to do any of this stuff. We just happened to get some equipment, and so it's just like, well, we can put other people in that position.
Yeah, basically we decided, why not help people? There wasn't really somebody to help us learn all this kind of stuff, so we said, why not be that opportunity for people? And there's a number of different things we do beyond just movies and podcasts. I'd say our goal right now is kind of to promote creativity in Omaha and in Nebraska. Something like the Prairie Lights Film Festival is a beautiful example of what that looks like.
To be fair, we have the equipment. We just don't know how to podcast.
I think that's how podcasts work.
Yeah. So, go ahead and do a plug for Exarban Creative. Then, if someone wants to reach out to you looking for some help, where do they go?
ExarbanCreative.com. Easy enough.
You can email either Tom or Ben at Exarban Creative.
We're on all the social media stuff too. Next week we'll be posting some information about upcoming projects. Looking for crew members, looking for actors. We'll have a couple different roles that will eventually need to be cast. But at ExarbanCreative.com, if you go to the portfolio section on there, you'll see all the things we've been involved in lately. We also do like social media services for people and branding and stuff like that. So there's a lot going on there.
Yeah. And I come from a advertising background with branding and stuff like that, and I really appreciate the work that you did for Prairie Lights this year, because it really was much more visible out in social media and everything else. And with the color rebranding, what you were doing with like the different blocks, different colors, different things like that, I just thought that was pretty smart. So
that was something that, again, Matt had said we really don't have a strong brand or social media presence. And my only goal is to make something that was consistent and solid.
Right.
And so I do have to point out that the ingenious corn laurels they're not my idea. I improved that from the previous logo. But what I was really trying to do was, especially with those colors, was make sure that we had some visibility.
Right.
And I hope that worked out.
Yeah.
The other cool thing you brought in this year that was new was offering out media passes.
Yeah.
Which was going to give everybody more of a presence to talk to, podcasters or people that interview for YouTube or whatever else to come in and talk to filmmakers and get that out there. I thought that was kind of a cool idea to bring in this year also.
That was actually an idea that Tom had, and then we kind of developed that together because, having gone to not only this festival for several years, but having film premieres in Omaha, you kind of realize that there are people out there who want to report on things or talk about things, but maybe don't have those opportunities. So at our last film premiere, we had some people come in and review the film. I know Greg reviewed the film for us. Basically, I mean, there's people out there who want to do that kind of stuff. So Tom had the great idea that, why not make that something really easy for people to just get a media pass and come in and cover the event.
Yeah, because people might not know that there's even a desire for it, and so just making that explicit seemed like that might be a step in the right direction, at least to just increase visibility for everybody.
Yeah. So Mark Popejoy just joined.
He just sat back in. I'm back.
Yeah.
You can't get enough of it.
He must have felt his ears burning from the comments earlier. So now this weekend's not even yet over. We still have about half of the festival to go yet still. But do you already have plans and intentions for next year, for 2019, on how to even help build it further? Or is that like we're going to sit down, we're going to have a postmortem, and we're going to see what worked, what didn't, and move forward?
The main
from there?
discussion of the weekend is going forward. How do we get more attention?
Yeah.
Because it's interesting, we've seen more filmmakers, but we haven't necessarily seen more attendees. Even it's even a struggle to get the actors that are in these films to come and see these things, or even retain them to sit through other people's films. Theirs are done.
A big issue right there.
It is a huge issue. They come out for their film and then
they leave. Yeah.
We can't even get actors to go to our own premieres. So
Exactly. Exactly.
No, I think there's something to be said for trying. I mean, my personal opinion, having been a guest for the first 3 years, was that this is such a solid event. It's so well planned out, and I just don't know if it's that people don't know about it, or if it's that they don't understand how, I guess, easygoing it is.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of people who are a little bit intimidated by it, and so I think, Mark's right. I think the discussion that needs to take place is how do we increase attendance, but also how do we not, I guess, intimidate people by doing that.
Well, and it's also a slightly different animal than other film festivals because, one, the whole no fee entry type thing, and then specifically that we're focusing on Nebraska filmmakers. But then, like you had said, it's that that free will feeling that while you're here, it's like people aren't used to that. So it's like, what is this? What is this?
Right.
So,
and that's, to be fair, there's a lot of opportunities built in that we advertise, with the mixers and the after parties and stuff. But I think if people don't know that the whole festival is kind of like that, they can be a little bit afraid to get involved. I know the first year that we came here, it was kind of intimidating because there's all these filmmakers, and you almost wonder, are they going to laugh at me or think I don't know what I'm doing? But it's not that at all.
No,
it's literally the exact opposite.
It's literally to promote filmmaking.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if there's a way to get a hold of people that are aspiring filmmakers that have never jumped in and pulled the trigger on a film yet because they don't know how to get started, and offer something here to get those aspiring filmmakers here to talk to people that have gone through it and can point them in a direction to get them going. Because then that just furthers pull here also as far as filmmakers go.
Well, what Tom had pointed out earlier is there are a lot of submissions from college students this year, which I know is something in the past they'd hoped for more of. So I think it's going in the right direction. But you're absolutely right.
We were looking at a college block. Last year, but we didn't get the participation.
This year you definitely had enough for a college block, though, I think. And what's cool about that is if you get them when they're coming out of the universities and stuff like that, then they're going to continue being Nebraska filmmakers after that. So you've always got that. I think it'd be really nice to get that point where you've got so many entries that you kind of got to turn some away, that kind of thing, And I know, we've had a ton for this one this year, and it's great to see it growing.
I think one of the discussions I had with Matt, and I don't know if you heard anything on this, we talked about maybe doing a live webcast of one of the days or nights of one of the blocks. And we don't know, like webcasts, like we're talking about maybe to one of the theaters in Omaha and having a live televised, having and I mean even the podcast, Fright Nights could be on that as part of it, having discussions with filmmakers and what they feel about it and how they feel, how easygoing it is here and that kind of thing. And let's face it, I mean, a lot of these filmmakers are new and out of the gate and made 1, 2, maybe 3 films their whole entire life, and some may never do it again, and some may. But if you have an avenue to show, like Omaha folks and Lincoln folks, hey, look, wow, I mean, that's totally not what we were thinking that is. You know what I mean? So it's and I say it from stage every time. Man, just go talk to these filmmakers where everybody's so approachable.
It's a safe place.
I will talk your ear off.
Yeah.
Well, and I was pushing for Ben even just to start live streaming the Q&As. Just put those up on Facebook, which he started doing today. And that seems like it's getting some response at least, and it helps people just get a sense of like, what's it actually like there. I mean, what are you getting into?
Are you doing the live
Facebook
feed?
Live?
Yeah, I did a Facebook Live for the panel at 1 o'clock, the woman filmmaker panel.
How'd that go?
Cool,
That was beautiful. I mean, I guess Tom could talk more about that. He was up there.
Yeah, I mean, well,
my job was to not talk.
On Facebook?
Yeah.
What was the response on Facebook? I mean, how was
I'll have to check again in a bit, but before I'd gone back into the theater, I mean, there were people watching and replying. And I mean, that's really the point is to have that conversation.
Yeah.
that's
I think that's
that's
awesome.
kind of what I'm talking about here is that was a great idea.
It's kind of a test run, of to see if there's a market.
And you get a lot more people that will catch that later.
Yeah, right.
They'll go,
yeah.
You know, the folks that attend the Omaha Film Festival will go, oh, wait, whoa. A woman's block of filmmakers, what from Prairie Lights? What's this?
And what we'd love to do is get to the point where we have, because obviously that's just on my phone live. But what we'd love to do is get to the point where that's built into the festivals where we have like sound equipment and something recording live for people, even if it's just on a laptop or something. But something so that it's an expected part of the festival, so that there will be this conversation or this panel. Sort of maybe one per year that's kind of something like that. Because, again, that ties into not only getting people involved, but saying that, this is really a low-key, opportunity to kind of just communicate about what's going on. So, some people have stage fright going up there, but it's really not, intimidating. It's sitting there having a conversation about filmmaking. I mean, the one that you just did with Tom, Mark, as a filmmaker, you knew how to relate. And so that's kind of the point is we're all filmmakers here. We're all in the same boat, and so there's no reason to be
There's
afraid.
the same obstacles.
Right.
There's the same discussions at every filmmaking group's table. How do we get around this obstacle to start, and then it's just get to the location and plow through it as it comes.
Yeah. Yep. And so that Facebook Live thing too. Those people on that panel will see that, and they'll share that on their page, and then it's just like. It should just branch off, and you should
spread like a wildfire.
tons of people.
That's the hope,
So that's an awesome idea, that Facebook Live thing.
So back to Tom. How was the up there with the women's block of interviews? Was it?
I thought it went pretty well. Yeah, I thought there was good engagement. It was almost something where I've always thought it might be fun for something like that, where there's just so much to talk about, and the filmmakers have so much to talk about. If it's even like a longer form panel discussion where like you could even like Dorothy could run that and just talk about it and say whatever she has on her mind for an hour probably, and everyone just bouncing off of that. I thought it was a good start, at least just kind of see how do we incorporate something like that into Prairie Lights. And hopefully that was interesting for the people just there to see something that's maybe a discussion that you don't get when you're just talking about the individual movie. Like, how is each individual movie made? Obviously, we do want to know that. But then, like, what are people taking away from the filmmaking community, the experience, and their place in it? I thought was an interesting avenue to also go into.
Speaking of taking away, what with we just watched Green on Green, which you directed. What was the takeaway that you were hoping people got from that? I didn't ask that from stage, but that's kind of a good question.
Well, I mean, I don't have that specific of anything. I would hope that they felt something watching it, whether it's just that they laughed, whether they were moved by it. I mean, whatever that might be.
They're like caterpillars.
Sure, yeah. The caterpillar was cool. That was worth 89 minutes to get to that. I mean, whatever they take away, as long as it's not like, I absolutely hated that, that was a waste of my life. That's I hope they don't feel that way. Yeah. But otherwise, whatever.
So sure. Mark kind of already segued us into the next section. Yeah. So it's obvious you guys are very passionate about Prairie Lights Film Festival and filmmakers and stuff like that. But it's also very obvious that you're passionate about filmmaking. And the reason that you're really here is to show your film Green on Green. So tell us about the film.
So Green on Green, it's a comedy about basically epiphany hunting. The idea that, like, if I want to, first of all, turn my life into like a narrative that I can sell, I need to have some kind of epiphany or takeaway or insight into the human condition they talk about. And so it's sort of just that writing process. I think anytime somebody makes something is they feel like I have to, first of all, like mind my own psychology, come up with like what's the profound thing that I'm feeling, and then how do I turn that into something I can sell. And so the movie's about that, but then it's like a weird Moby Dick adaptation mixed with that idea. And so So I was saying during the Q&A with Mark, but basically it's like, how do you make Moby Dick with no money and in Nebraska? So somehow I got to the caterpillar hunt, and the idea of like a caterpillar is like, I knew it wouldn't be hard to work with a caterpillar the way like any other animal might be as our whale substitute. And so then you also get just like the metaphor of metamorphosis from a caterpillar. And so like it became more of like a meta story with the Moby Dick adaptation, but we still were able to get just the two central conflicts. So it's like Camille, our main character, is searching for something sort of like intangible that's like an epiphany. How do you hunt for an epiphany is interesting, mixed with the actual hunt for a caterpillar, which is just this goofy, tangible hunt. And so that juxtaposition is kind of what forms the story.
So my question off of that is, how do you, like, where does this come from? Where do you get this idea?
Yeah.
Because that's deep.
Well, it was just, I'd read Moby Dick years ago, and it just always stuck with me, and particularly the fact that while you have the whale hunt, you also have Ishmael, the main character, who's basically the dramatic arc of one person trying to decide, should I kill myself or not, is very interesting. And so that's really heavy. I thought maybe I don't want to explicitly deal with that, but using that as a driving force for trying to feel something and get out of yourself and find some meaning. And then there's just like that with the idea that if I'm already searching for that, that's kind of contrived. So we can kind of make a comedy about how making any narrative is just contriving your life and pushing it into something that maybe it wasn't. So yeah, it's just kind of like introspection, knowing our limits with what we can do kind of means like, I know we can film people talking. I know we can film like people in class and kind of like running around. So it's like, okay, how can I combine all of those things into something that hopefully is a satisfying narrative? But yeah, I try to, like, when I write a movie, it's kind of like, what's everything that's going on in my head? How can I like push as much of that into there as I can?
Sure.
Huh. And there was a trip scene too. There was a psychedelic trip scene.
We were talking about that earlier. Yeah,
one of my absolute favorite parts of that film.
I love that you don't see it coming at all.
No, not at all.
No, you know what? And I'm going to be completely honest. When that started, when he pulls out that little thing, I'm like, oh, what's this? Is this a gummy? And then no, it looks like a drop of acid here, an acid hit. Let's see how is this going to go? And I immediately thought, Mandy. If anybody has seen Mandy, like, that is one acid trip ride.
It's on my
like, I was like, where are we going with this?
not as crazy as Mandy.
Yeah, no, obviously not.
Greg and I were having questions about, like, let's take this from conception to premiering and stuff like that. And one thing I noticed was, like with the movie you brought last year, Naomi Jones, you work with strong female characters in these. Is that a conscious effort, or it just happens to end up that way? Is this coinkydink? My special word.
Coinkydink.
Coinkydink.
It's not something where we're sitting down and saying we have to make a female film next. It's something like, what I do is, the movies are somewhat autobiographical to begin with, and so Ben can attest to this. Usually, like, in the early stages, we're not really thinking gender at first. It's just like, okay, a character maybe going through this. And then I know, like, one of the things, first of all, I like to work with the actresses that we've worked with, and so it's really fun to work with them. And just in the history of cinema, we haven't seen a lot of the type of existential movies just starring women, and so I know it's not going to be quite as derivative, first of all, if I'm sort of like switching the gender from what those type of movies may have been in the past.
Right.
But then, when I'm talking with Ben about some of these ideas, at first it maybe starts with, like, what if I was going through something like this? And then I switch it to, what if it was a woman going through this? Then it's like, okay, already it's divorced a little bit from my life. And so then I can start to think about, okay, so it's like a parallel sort of thing from what I might have been going through, but a lot of the context is going to change now. And so that helps me just kind of get in that creative mindset. And then it's also a fun excuse to find great actresses and keep working with them.
Right. Okay. Excellent. So then take us kind of through conception to premiere then.
Right, yeah, we premiered it at Exarban Cinema, and I cannot remember when that actually was.
August 9th.
August 9th, yeah. So that would have been, well, I guess Tom can answer this better. It was almost 2 years of development.
Wow, okay.
It was probably slightly over 2 years from the first idea. Basically, we wanted to make something outdoorsy, and then it leads to all the stuff that I was talking about what I was thinking. And so it was written spring and summer 2016, and then we were still in the middle of editing Naomi Jones throughout all of the writing and then pre-production. And so we finished, we ended up filming it before Naomi Jones was done. Like, I premiered. I finished editing Naomi Jones, then we filmed Green on Green, then we premiered Naomi Jones, and then I edited Green on Green. And so that was just this overlap that was crazy. And
yeah, we had just finished filming Green on Green when we came here last year for the festival for Naomi Jones, so we could not remember which project was which. So we're doing like Q&As and stuff, and we can't remember, did this experience happen on that side?
Right.
It's a mess.
And we had a lot of the same cast. So
yeah.
That doesn't help at all. Right. Yeah. There's this one time that blah, blah, blah. Oh, no, that's completely wrong.
So what's I guess kind of next for you guys?
Yeah, what's next?
What's next for you guys?
Well, we haven't made an official announcement about it, so I don't know how much we want to divulge.
I mean, I'm literally posting it on Monday. So.
Okay. You can give a little teaser.
Yeah, we'll say this. It is an all-out comedy, which, for those of you that have seen Almost a Weekend, it's much closer to that, but it'll look a lot better.
Well, hopefully. We've gotten on set.
So the basis for the idea is that some friends open a speakeasy in their basement, which, as Mark pointed out, is definitely illegal, but it's something that I've actually wanted to do in real life. Well, I want to open a bar, but there's so much paperwork you got to go through and all this, money you have to spend and stuff I just don't want to do. So I thought, what if we approach that for a movie, but then it turned into something a little larger than that.
Well, Ben's also wanted to make like a Omaha history conspiracy sort of movie where it's like somehow all of Omaha history gets unraveled into this crazy conspiracy real stuff. And so somehow those got merged in a really weird way. It's kind of like Strange Brew would definitely be the closest analogy for the direction it goes in.
Okay.
And so, we have that sort of like we're in the middle of writing it. And the idea is basically just like a totally silly, fun movie. And not trying to be deep, not trying to be intellectual. I don't want anyone to say, I don't get it or I'm too dumb to watch this.
Or they're going to expect that from you and they're going to try to find all the existential stuff
fun.
in this completely mindless movie,
What does it really mean?
Yeah.
That'll be fun too.
That'd be fun to just mess with your audience at that point,
That'd be something
that's awesome.
interesting taking a look at, guys.
Yeah. There's a couple other smaller projects that are kind of in the works. We filmed a few episodes of a show called Craft, where we basically go around and drink beer. So we're kind of figuring out what the distribution deal looks like for that in terms of, do we just want to throw an episode on YouTube and get it out there? Do we want to try to develop a whole season first? But that's also much more on the comedy side. Basically, we play fictional versions of ourselves drinking beer, commenting on the beer, but also getting into some other stuff.
It's just a rip-off of The Trip with Steve
basically.
Coogan and Rob Brydon, basically.
But shorter form. And then there's a couple people that we've been in contact with about doing short films basically for them. Music videos kind of in the work. But those aren't really our ideas, so I'm not going to spill the beans on those too much yet. But a lot of fun stuff going on.
Cool.
Awesome.
And we're going to find all that, again, where at one more time?
Exarbancreative.com, or just follow Exarban Creative on any social media platform, and you'll find all the updates for whatever we're working on there.
Cool. Mark, you want to say what you've been working on again? Should we repeat? Should we go again? And
no, I think we just cut Mark off. He talked enough last time.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, I think that's it for this section.
Cool. Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah.
We'll be back with a new lineup here soon. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Midnight Fright Cast. We got 3 new guests. It's awesome. Guests all day long. They've just been kind of coming in. But we got Benito Garcia back, sitting with Jeremy Lebash and Logan Davis. Yep. We are going to Jeremy screened last night. He showed his movie Unemployed. So yeah, let's just go right into it, Jeremy. Start to finish, Unemployed. Where'd it come from?
Well, it started out, it was supposed to be a sketch comedy show that myself and 3 buddies were going to do. This nursing home scene is what it's been known as now. Was kind of where it came from. We were going to do that for a short skit.
Okay.
Some idea I had. I don't know why I thought about reading an erotic love novel to elderly people, but I did. And then I just thought, this is kind of... We didn't do the sketch comedy show like we wanted to, so... Like, let's make this kind of a feature-length film. And then, like I said last night, I wrote it in my head for about 3 years.
Okay.
I started out horror, and so I'm like, I'm not going to ever do comedy. But then once the story came together, I was like, this is kind of good. And so I wrote the script in less than a month. And then I had Logan read it. A few other people read it, and they all just said they couldn't put it down. A lot of them were telling me that I'll read the first 10 pages.
Yeah.
And then the next day, they was like, dude, I couldn't put it down. It was so funny and hilarious. So that's kind of where it came from. And then, Logan came along. Him and I met, was that 3-4 years ago?
4 this past August.
We work on a professional wrestling
Move
promotion.
the mic over just a little bit more.
Okay. I'm a little soft-spoken.
That's all right.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that our listeners can hear you.
That's why he's behind the camera. but yeah, and then we've worked on professional wrestling together. We help run a pro wrestling promotion and do a lot of videos together. So I asked him if he wanted to be involved, and didn't think he was going to after he read the script and seen how raunchy it was. But he did, and couldn't have done it without him or Benito.
You have to tell me your trick because he turns mine down all the time. The last 2 projects, he's like, I'm out.
When you wrote that, Jeremy, did you write with people in mind?
The characters of Justin and John were written specifically for them.
Okay.
I had no intentions of casting John for the role of John, just because, he's acted in everything I've done, but just small parts. But he told me that, let me do it. Just let me try it. And I did, and I'm glad I did because he pulled it off. And, he's not as much of a compulsive masturbator as the movie would have you think. He kind of is, because I did live with him for a year, and there are some truths into the things that we put in the script for it, but I won't get into what was true and what wasn't true. So.
You could. We got time. What was there anything off limits? Did anybody tell you, no, I won't do that when you shot, or when you, I guess, gave out scripts?
Not really. I think I told people, if there's anything you're uncomfortable doing, speak now or forever hold your peace type of thing. And I told everybody if I was willing to have them do something, they would know I would do it. And there was a few things that I would do, like when Eric Green was eating the dog food. It really wasn't dog food, but when you change the labels out on refried beans and you're taking a spoonful of it, you psych yourself out, and it's like you're eating dog food. And so I took bites before he did. So everyone was pretty cool about doing things. Even Logan here, some of the camera angles, he had to get into some weird positions.
Absolutely.
He had to have Eric Green hunched over him, thrusting and moaning in front of the camera. So he was a team player as well.
How did you get the elderly? Did you know that elderly lady that was dry humping?
I didn't know her until this movie.
So how did you get her?
How did you explain that story?
Writing the script, I was just, one of the reasons I figured it would never happen was because of that nursing home scene. Because I was like, there's no way I'm going to find enough elderly people to be involved in a raunchy film like this. But that was actually the easiest thing to cast. This lady, Gina, she plays Diana, and she also plays one of the elderly ladies who put makeup on her. Her sister is at a nursing home, and so she said that she was telling all the ladies there about this script, and she had a fairly good idea of what the movie was about. And she's like, do you want to, I might have some elderly ladies for you. So I went up there one day, and these ladies were perverted. I thought I kind of had a perverted mind, but they made me blush and stuff. And so Jackie, her Mary Williams, we'll call her, that played Edna. She read the script. I went to her house in February of 2017 for her to do a read through, and she said she was in, and I'm like, you do realize you're going to have to moan and thrust into this younger guy? And she was like, bring it on. So
that's awesome. That is totally awesome.
Wow.
Go. You got a question? Greg, you got a question?
I currently don't know. I'm just enjoying listening to these stories.
During the talkback after the show last night, and you just talked about it now, that it was originally considered that you're going to be doing sketch comedy with these things. It may have been like a web series or something like that. And did you have more than one sketch that you incorporated into this? But because you had said you started off with the retirement home scene, did you have other things in mind as you were going along? Because there were times where it did feel like we've got this sketch here, we've got this sketch here, and we've got this sketch here. How do we tie them together?
Actually, the nursing home was actually the only sketch that I actually incorporated. There were some other ideas that I had that they just didn't seem to fit no matter what we did. I knew I wanted to film in a strip club just because, hey, it's cool to film in a strip club. That was actually probably the first biggest scene that we filmed, and I thought it was going to be a nightmare to film, but the craziest thing about that day was we started early in the morning, and everyone asked, when are we going to be done? I'm like, 5 o'clock, and we did everything, and right when we wrapped, I didn't look at my phone all day, and it was 4:58, and I was like, holy cow, we are right on schedule. But that was the only scene that was really pre-written before I started writing the script. But I think the scene that everybody loves was the webcam scene.
Oh yeah, that was probably the highlight for me.
I was sitting in the front row last night, and there was really nobody in front of me. And I had thought that everybody was gone. I didn't want to look behind me to see how many people were offended and left the theater. But once that webcam scene hit, it was like, that's when I realized there were still people there. But I don't know.
I also love the commitment from the actors in that scene, because it could be uncomfortable for them, but it didn't seem to bother either of them. And I don't know if that was the case on set or anything like that, but it didn't show on screen.
It didn't, and I mean, they were miserable conditions. Like that bedroom scene was like, what would you guys say, about 150 degrees in there?
And that was something I noticed throughout the movie, is every once in a while you'd see just like trickles of sweat coming down these guys' face.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it smelled like cat urine in there.
We had masks at some point. We were wearing,
we did.
Because of the smell. It was a mixture of the cat issues and dirty dishes that hadn't been washed in weeks, month.
Over a month, for sure.
Where did you get that
apartment?
apartment?
Just awful.
Where did that come from?
So Joe Simmons, who plays Craig, it was actually a friend of his brother's that he had known growing up. And Joe was very helpful in finding like locations when I needed it, and a lot of other things he was helpful with. But I told him, I was like, I don't have an apartment because, we needed a dirty looking apartment. And, a lot of people were willing to give their apartments, but they were spick and span. And it's like, well, I don't want to go in there and have to set dress and dirty it up. Plus I told him, we're going to be filming for about a month in there. And so Joe said, well, I have this guy, he's kind of a slob. Well, do you want to go check out his apartment? So we did, and it's like, the second we walked in, I smelled cat piss everywhere. I was like, this is it. This is where we're going to be spending home for the next month. And like I said, very little set dressing for that. I mean, a few things here and there, but
it was so awful.
But yeah, and like I said, we filmed there for about a month, and everything was filmed out of order there. It was kind of, I don't know. There was one issue. What was the issue with the sound? We had filmed a long scene, and then it was like the next time we got together.
Oh,
you were just like, "Oh,
it was
shit,
the formatted
I just
card.
Deleted I formatted the card."
It was a miscommunication between. It was
wow.
a big miscommunication between Logan and I, and he had talked about downloading some files, and I just assumed he meant that he had downloaded the files off of the card, and we just misspoke, and I formatted the card, and all of the audio that had been recorded from a prior day or prior couple of days.
So were you able to use camera auto or any
That's what
audio?
we ended up doing.
Yeah. I mean, the camera audio wasn't that bad either. I mean, this had a heck of a microphone attached to that, too.
I think it was seamless. I don't know that anybody probably noticed that happened.
Yeah. And one of them was a bathroom scene, so it did sound a little bit echoey, but that's okay for a bathroom scene.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a pretty calm guy. I mean, it was a very stress-free set, in my opinion, but I think that was the only time where when you had told me you formatted it, I was kind of like about ready to drop kick both of you.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I don't want to refilm that.
He was crushed.
But it all worked out.
Yeah. He was one of those guys who jokes on set, so I thought it was a joke at first.
Yeah, I did too.
I'm like, it's not a joke.
I was still waiting when we were wrapping up that night. I was
really not fucking kidding you.
Got you.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Did the movie turn out like you played it in your head?
Oh, and then some, yeah. I mean, you have a vision in your head for, like I said, 3 years.
Yeah.
I've been writing it, and then, casting it, like everybody just did the part perfectly. I mean, the only thing that I don't necessarily care for, and maybe people don't care, but I mean, a comedy that's 2 hours long, that's something that kind of like, it bugs me, and, I know people are antsy when they're seeing a movie, and, whenever James Cameron has a movie it's like, oh, it's going to be like a 3-hour long movie and stuff. But it was just that thing where we couldn't. There was so much good stuff that we couldn't decide. Well, what do we cut? And so we just left everything in there.
It's really the
Did you
hardest
guys
thing to do.
rehearse at all? Did you rehearse at all before you filmed?
We had a read through, and that was about it. And we block things out in there. But I mean, the read through just was perfect.
Did those 4 guys know each other at all before they went in there and started?
Joe and Eric Green know each other.
Okay.
And then John and Justin, they knew each other.
Because they interacted like they knew each other for a long time. So that all meshed really well.
I basically had them get naked and sit in a room together for 2 hours and talk so they can get comfortable. No, I really didn't do that. But
it was like being in a foxhole. You get to know the guy you're with very well.
I was going to send them off to a hotel for a weekend so they could just, and my rules were, you guys can't leave this hotel room, just play board games, do what you gotta do, watch porn, I don't care what you do, but you guys need to bond. But we never really did that. But it worked out in the end. They seemed like they've known each other for a long time. So
there was a few running gags throughout the movie. Was that written into it, or is that developed as you went along?
Developed as we went along. Like Michael Laughlin, who's he's a photographer. He was there for the strip club scene. I'm like, that day, the only bad thing that happened the day we filmed the strip club is I had like 20-some guys that said they were going to be extras and show up that day. And, well, like 4 or 5 of them
that always
showed
happens.
up.
Yep,
and
that always happens.
Man, I was like, I wanted this strip club to look like it was a place to be. And so Michael was there taking on-set photos, and I said, can you just sit in and fill in? I was like, I know you go to strip clubs all the time, so you have it down. Just do what you got to do. And so he did, and then it was just when we had the camera on him, I'm like, hey, since you're not supposed to have cameras in a strip club, I think it'd be funny if you took a picture and she slapped you. And so we did that, and then it was the nursing home scene I think that we shot next, and he was there again, and I'm like, hey, let's just have you walk in and take a random picture. And then it was like from there on out, it was like,
no, he got slapped a lot.
Yeah, he did, and he didn't complain. So.
I was a little curious about the slipping on the mail, the pile of mail, and I was wondering if that was an accident, and they said, oh, fuck it, everybody's going to slip on the mail from that point on.
And that was one thing, like, we just had a couple of them do it, and after we shot the film and we wrapped up and we're editing, we're like, yeah, we should have had every single one of them slip on that pile of mail, but, what can you do?
It was like almost expected. Anytime anybody moved on that side of the room, I was just waiting for someone to just do the
exactly.
dip,
Well, the funny thing is, we slipped on it like 1,000 times when we were filming. So, but
what was the experience? The difference in shooting Unemployed and then shooting Shadow's Edge?
Well, experience. I mean, when I shot Shadow's Edge, that was my first feature-length film that I wrote and directed, and I had only done about like 3 short films before that, and I was just, my eyes were big, and I look back, not that I'm ashamed of Shadow's Edge, but I look back and I'm like, like I don't, when people are like, where can I see it, I'm like, you don't want to see it, but
it's good.
It's
that
good.
Played here, right? That
It
played
did,
here,
like
right?
I think the second year of this, but
I enjoyed it.
But it was, I've worked on a lot of other people's film sets, with Benito. He's luckily I get to work on all of his films with him. So I've learned a lot. I didn't go to school for any of this. I watch a lot of DVD extras. Whenever I buy a DVD, if there's not a making of documentary on there, I don't even buy it. This it just seems seamless. Like with Shadow's Edge, I had a lot of help from Guy White and Joe Harris. They were the cinematographers, and they did a lot of the directing because it was my first time kind of really on a big set. And this time I actually felt like I was the director. Like I felt like I had everything planned out, and if anybody had a question, I was able to answer it like that. And it also helps having a amazing crew and cast. But and just, I don't know, like I hate to say like I'm done with horror movies, but comedy kind of seems to be more my thing, and more it's less stress.
Oh, I hear you on that. I prefer comedy over horror. Sorry, guys, but that's my
I'm right there with you. I might be the lone person at the table.
A lot of things have to come together in a horror movie to make it work, and it's got to be a lot of things. Not that I'm saying comedy's easy. I don't mean it that way by any means.
Hard.
Comedy is really hard, especially for the actors, I think.
I didn't mean it that way by any means, but a lot of things have to work. Your special effects have to work. Your tones that you're setting have to work. Your characters have to be believable. Yeah. Horror is tough.
I mean, I'll just say movie making in general is tough.
Oh, yeah,
Anybody
I would
that
agree
even
with that,
takes a stab at it, I mean, it's...
Jeremy was very open, too, as we were on set and we were filming scenes, open to suggestions. And we shot a lot. You guys, I can't imagine what the behind-the-scenes reels must look like. There's so many ad-lib things and things that we changed. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. Jeremy was very cool about.
That's why I just don't like the people that write something and it's like you got to do it like this because I said so. I mean, obviously, not one person can make something amazing.
Well, not only that, you're restricting your actors at that point, and then I don't want to say they feel resentment, but they feel constrained that they can't be as creative as they possibly can be. So for me, as an actor and as a director or as an actor's director. The collaborative process is so important with that, and being able to let them express themselves, even if you know what you're going to be using, still give them that opportunity to play because they may change your mind.
Well, and that's just it. Like the actor knows their character the best.
Exactly right.
If they think their character would do it this way, let's try it. I mean, you can try it both ways, and whatever works. And that's the thing. Like everybody ad-libbed a lot of stuff, and I mean that made it hard for filming sometimes because it's like. They don't tell you what they're going to do. You have a good take going, and then all of a sudden somebody does something, and then I bust out laughing behind the camera, and I ruin the whole take. And I was like, you should tell me these things. So,
and that's an important element, just not for cast, too. It's for crew. I mean, as your director of photography, you just let me spread my wings and fly a lot, too. He wasn't like micromanaging, like it has to be this angle, or if he wanted something, he's like, well, shoot it your way first, and then let's look at this. I mean, there was a lot of collaboration.
Well, Logan, he graduated from Full Sail University, which is pretty prestigious in itself. So
Full Sail represent.
Yeah, so I mean, it would be stupid for me to like tell him like, no, do it my way. I mean, he obviously went to a pretty prestigious school.
And that's something they teach you though in film school. Like you can break the rules. Like this is your framework. Think beyond too. So I love Full Sail.
Yeah, that happens with Jeremy and I a lot.
Really?
He's the.
Good catch.
I change your whole script.
I have great scripts. We talked about it earlier. I come together with these scripts that I love. I come to Jeremy, let him read them, or look at them, or we talk about them, and he just fucking changes the.
I don't mean to do that. I mean, you can always say no, but
well, it worked really good both times.
So where are we going to be able to find Unemployed down the line?
Well, Logan and I, we're going to be buying a multi-disc burner. We're going to burn copies ourselves. We want it to look professional, so it's like we don't want to get those like. We also want to laser etch on the discs, like the Unemployed logo. I mean, people put so much hard work and time into this that we don't want to just slap on like a crappy sticker. I mean, no offense to people that do that, but it's just, but yeah, we're going. We have the two premieres we had in Omaha. Like so many people
sold
after
out,
they
right?
saw. Yeah, both were. Yeah. Second one was close to sold out. It wasn't completely sold out, but I might as well call it a sellout, I guess. Yeah. But I mean, there's so many people that bought pre-ordered DVDs, so that's next. I'm planning on. Like I said, I've never been in this to make money. I just like doing it and entertaining people. Yeah. So, but if I can make money off of it, that's great. So I want to have a couple more premieres in Omaha and hopefully a couple more in Lincoln. I know Lincoln's getting hard to find a theater to screen movies at, but I want to do it for a charity, and all the proceeds go to a charity. I'm looking at an autism charity to help out with.
Very cool.
And then him and I were just last night, nothing like this is the first time hearing it on like actual surround sound. The theater in Omaha it's an old theater and it's an amazing theater. Westwood Cinema 8, they were amazing, but their theater system, their sound system wasn't full surround sound. So last night hearing it on the full surround sound, we heard some things and we're like, oh god, we need to have this in more theaters. So we're looking at a few more film festivals. One in Sioux City, is that
Rapid City.
Black
Hills Film Festival.
Yeah, and I mean, he's even going to be looking at possibly something out at Full Sail since he's alone there. And then there's Joe Simmons has told me several streaming services that I should try to look into. Sure. So that's hopefully we'll have a few more premieres. I just hate that it's you do all that work and you only get to screen it on the big screen a couple times and then it's done. Like I want to drag this out for everybody as long as we can.
Yeah. But Go ahead.
No,
geez, you're always trying to jump on my questions, aren't you?
They're fighting.
Yeah. No. Going back to your the post talk after the movie last night, and because I get a payment every time I mention his name, Eric Moyer.
When did we sign up for that?
Who was that again?
You, Eric Moyer. Cha-ching,
Okay.
cha-ching. You had mentioned you named the character Squiggy because of Squiggy from Laverne and Shirley.
Correct.
You are a young man, or at least you look like a young man. How the hell do you know?
56 years now.
How the hell do you know Laverne and Shirley?
I grew up in a household where my mom and dad, we watched the same episodes. Like I loved shows like Taxi, Laverne and Shirley. I mean, I grew up on a lot of those old shows.
So a lot of like Up at Night, is that what that was? Nick at Night, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Up at Night, that's a completely different
that
thing.
Was, what was her name?
Rhonda Shears.
Yeah.
I know where your mind's at.
Well, you know. No, I thought that was very interesting. I was like, he's way too young to know who that is. But
I turned 35 in a couple weeks here, so I'm not that young. I mean, I can run for presidency if I wanted to.
Yes, you could.
But no, yeah, I my original goal, like I said last night, was I was going to actually cast that actor to play the role of Squiggy. Obviously, if I cast him, I don't know legality if I would have had to change the character's name, but that's when I was writing it. Squiggy was, I guess, that was somebody I had in mind for the character when writing it. But then, I mean, I worked with Eric Moyer on a film several years ago and thought he was extremely talented, and so I wanted him to be a part of this, and so I figured, he would be the next best thing, and I explained to him that I really wanted Squiggy to kind of have that squeaky type voice like that, and at the read through, he had us all in tears because he did that and he put his own spin on it. And there's actually going to be a scene that we didn't film, the end credits where it shows where they're all at. We were supposed to film something with Squiggy, but time issues, we just couldn't do it. But we were going to have him like on a talk show and like somebody like Conan O'Brien, and then his voice, he was going to start out, and then he did this in the read-through. He was going to clear his throat, and then all of a sudden he was going to have this really professional-sounding voice. But we never got around to it, so, but, yeah. And a lot of people have asked me about a sequel, and I have an idea. We've been talking about it, and it would involve more of Squiggy, so hopefully I'd have to talk to Eric before.
It's like he gets his own spin-off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he would be the main character of like the second one, and I guess before I would even put time and effort into the script, I'd need to ask him, hey, can you and your voice hold up to doing a more screen time?
Yeah.
But
excellent.
So you have something already in the pipe as well, too. You're working on another project already, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm currently, like right now, like I said, I'm my full-time job. Obviously, I'm not a full-time filmmaker, but I manage a Halloween shop, a year-round Halloween shop, and I'm a manager for a haunted house in town. So this weekend's kind of like my vacation. It's my only time off in October. Monday I go back to work, but after that I'm going to be I'm currently writing a feature-length comedy called Serial Killers, spelled like a bowl of cereal. And it's going to be a dark comedy. It's going to be more raunchy than Unemployed, if you can believe that. Probably less men's butts in it, but I figure guys are more willing to, if you ask them, can we see your ass on film, they'll say yes. If I asked a girl that, she'd probably punch me. But so I'm going to be writing that more full-time after the Halloween season, which is kind of what I did with Unemployed. Yeah. And then we were just talking about how we kind of want to, we're not going to have a feature-length film for Prairie Lights next year, but if they're willing to have us back, do it like how Benito does, where we do a short film that's specifically for here. And we actually thought of the premise earlier, which whether we go that route or not, I would like to. I think it's something that every guy goes through, so they can relate to it. So I'll just leave it at that.
Cool.
Awesome.
Where can we find your stuff, Jeremy? Because, you said Shadow's Edge isn't really an option, but you have other stuff out there. Where can we find your work?
I really that's the thing. I don't really have any place where people can see it, because, I mean, there's really only three things that aside from, like, Benito's stuff.
They can't find my stuff either.
But, like,
you're just screwed.
I have The Shadow's Edge, which it was my first film. There was this company, I think, in Australia that wanted to be the ones that would distribute it, and I signed a contract and kind of got screwed over in that deal.
Yeah.
I don't think the company's around anymore. So I thought about if people really want it, I'll just burn copies myself. And if the company comes after me, I'm like, you never lived up to your end of the contract we signed. I know Shadow's Edge is on Amazon. I don't know how much it is. Probably too much. But the only other thing that I really have out there would be a short film, Junior. It was on that Silly Scaries 2 that we kind of had.
I do remember Junior.
thing.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So that's the only other thing, and I don't know. It will probably have a link once we get DVDs up on the Facebook page for Unemployed. But,
cool.
But other than that, yeah.
Awesome. Anything else? Anything else?
I don't think I've got anything else.
All right, we'll come back then after another break. Let's go watch some more movies.
Thanks, guys.
Right.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
We rolling?
We've been rolling for a while.
Are we? Well, I had no idea.
Come on, guys. Let's.
Hey, everybody! Welcome back to this talk. Let's go back to the Midnight Fright Cast. We are on day 3 and getting ready to wrap this thing up. We got Mark Popejoy and Matt joining it.
Why did you introduce him before me? I'm the important
Clearly,
one here.
the important
My goodness.
I clearly cannot be on this mic anymore. So
No, it's like half the time you're back here, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, everybody.
He moves forward.
You
when he
move
gets
forward,
nervous.
yeah.
He does. When he gets nervous, he goes a little bit.
Hey, welcome to the Shit on Josh cast. I am your punching bag, Josh. Wrapping up day 3 of the Prairie Lights Film Festival. I think we're all tired and
You
ready
sound
to go.
so pained.
We got Matt Kister here, along with Mark Popejoy. Was that better?
Oh, it's much better, but you said it with utter contempt and disdain. So.
Speaking of utter contempt and disdain, how did the game go last night, Matt? How did that end?
I am incredibly upset right now because
I fucking told you. We had this conversation already.
Punching bag over here was a human who
Play your
was
wild
working
card.
in cahoots
Play your
with
wild
the
card.
things to kill us, and he ruined the game for us.
Play the wild card.
I'm going to be the bigger person.
No, play the wild card.
No, you need to understand that this is like a long-term, a long-played plan here. that Josh had this planned since day one.
Did you mean Josh or Jash?
Joshua?
Oh, did I mean Joshua?
Yeah,
Joshua?
I think you meant Joshua.
I saw that, and I was like, what happened there?
But fuck it, we're not going to fix it. It's fine.
Joshua.
He'll live with it.
I like the nickname Jash, though. It makes it sound pretty cool, actually.
Since you started it, Matt, you might as well wrap up while you're pissed at me.
Okay, so we played this game called The Thing, and basically it's a game about lying and deceit, and we got to make our way through the outpost. And so it's based on the John Carpenter movie, and no one knows who's the Thing. Obviously, get closer
Or pull the mic closer to you. Yeah. There you go.
Okay, so and basically what happened is Josh became the captain, and he only had one job, which was not to ruin the mission we were on, and he ruined the mission, and we lost. And then we had to flip everyone's cards to find out who was a thing the entire time. And of course, Josh was a human, and he basically killed the rest of the human crew and helped the things win the game. So
Things 1, humans 0.
I just want to say that
Thanks, Jash.
if you're out there playing that game, read your cards closely, because that's all I really had to do to not fuck that game up.
Oh, yeah, that's the
that's
thing,
true.
because he made a decision. He already had the winning cards, but he made a decision and pulled the card that caused the game to lose. So he didn't need to do the thing that he did, but he's Jash. So pretty exciting.
Yeah, so that was a fun time.
It's a great game. I highly recommend it. It's a fun time. Yeah,
No, that's good.
We just had Peter O'Brien sit down with us too, so jump in and say hi.
Hello.
Pete did Running Through Darkness last night. How did you want to talk to him about Running Through Darkness? For
Yeah, we
2
probably
seconds?
should, since we've talked to all the other directors who've sat down.
You said
with
it.
us.
So, just you want to talk about just the process for a second, Peter, and from beginning to end, kind of how you came up with it and the filming process and everything.
Can you be a little more specific?
I don't know.
Like, that's just a long story.
So,
like, is there like more like bullet points you want me to hit?
Can you break it down into bullet points?
How did the concept of the story happen?
Yes.
Concept of the story came about because a couple of years ago at Prairie Lights there was going to be a noir anthology, and so I was going to write a script for the script bank, and it was going to go out to filmmakers to choose, and I just ran out of time. I had written one for the horror bank, but I didn't get around to writing the noir one. But the idea stuck around, and the noir anthology never came back around. Like the horror anthology comes around every year.
Not this year.
The noir anthology was, more of like a one-off, and so the idea just kind of hung around. And then I went to the movies with Mark Timian, and I was, seeing if he was interested in doing something last summer, and he was. And we had just come to see Dark Star, which is another John Carpenter movie, his first movie, and we both kind of decided that movie is officially retired for us. We are not going back to that ship with Dan O'Banion and the rest of the crew. But one of the ideas was we want to make a movie that's better than Dark Star, and I think we succeeded. So
cool. Did you write with people in mind, or did you have auditions to cast?
A little bit of both. I had a couple of people in mind, and I was actually able to get them on board. Our lead, Landon Beard, he was always in my mind for the main character of Calvin. Eric Moyer, the Prince of Nebraska, he was in my mind for the antagonist Carl. And then there were a couple of other people here and there. Mark Popejoy, of course, I wanted because he looks like a bad dude. He's not, but he looks like it. He can pull it off.
Yeah, we had that discussion last night, didn't we? About if you need someone that's rapey or you just
thanks.
You just give Popejoy a call.
Appreciates that.
Maybe you guys should have been in Lucy.
Oh,
you could be in the sequel.
There you go.
Yeah. So, and then we did have some auditions for some of the smaller parts, but mostly I got the people who I had in mind.
Cool. How long did it take you from start to finish to writing and filming and editing and finishing it up?
I started writing it on like May 28th and had the first draft inside of a month, and I did a quick revision. Second draft was done like in a month, and then we rehearsed and, secured props and everything and locations the best we could. And then we started filming in August up to September 2nd. And then I kind of took a little bit of a break. And then I edited it through October and then color corrected it. And we did a pickup day. And so then it was the holidays. And then I did the score and everything. And then the sound mixing. So it was all done from pretty much the very beginning of June, end of May, to the end of March, beginning of April.
Oh, so that's pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah, what is that? 9 months, 8 months, something like that.
Cool. Played anywhere else? Or was that was a premiere last night, right?
Last night was the Nebraska premiere. It did play at a festival in New York, and it won.
Oh, nice!
It won Best Feature and Best Score, which is kind of exciting. It's not the Tribeca Film Festival, but it was still nice to be acknowledged for the effort. And then it's going to be playing at another festival in Strasburg, Virginia, in November, and then beyond that, I'm just going to have to wait for the festival programmers to recognize it.
Cool. Do you? Where can we find? Do you have a place where all your other stuff kind of lives? Shorts and everything.
Well, I have a few things on Amazon Prime. There's a short film I did for Prairie Lights a couple of years ago, The House on Peach Avenue, which is part of the horror anthology. Mm-hmm. That's on Amazon Prime. There's another little horror short. It's only 3 minutes called Trick or Treat. I did that years ago back in New York. That's on Prime. My previous feature, which is not as good as this feature, is on Amazon Prime. You can search my name to find that one. And then if you go to visuallyhidden.com, that's kind of my portfolio where you can see all different projects I have and links and trailers and pictures. So everything is on visuallyhidden.com.
Cool. Well, let's wrap this thing up with some. What was everybody's, I guess, overall thoughts of the weekend? How did it go? What'd you like? What'd you see? Nobody jump at the same time.
I think everybody should on October 16th, because Bill Hedges told me that was the day. Everybody should go to YouTube and search for Cosmic Cat. It's a fun 25 minutes.
Highlight of my weekend watching that come together. Since we've been out to Lyons, Nebraska at Cosmic Studios several times to film, and to see one of Bill's projects come together is super cool. He's got a series of scripts written for it.
Yeah, and there was a discussion in the lobby shortly after the screening of that film last night that seems like a niche film that could really take off, because you see all these millennials finding these weird, obscure videos and just sharing it and sharing it and sharing it. And I think this has that type of element that could really take off for him.
It's interesting because it's campy and it's not taking itself too seriously, and so it is like, the older Star Trek, or like, even like the Batman from '66. And it's funny because in today's day and age and world, like, you have access to all of that gear and you can make something of that quality.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill, I just met him briefly, but he seems like a very interesting and inventive kind of guy. So the fact that he did everything himself and built everything himself is just a real tip of the hat to him. Bravo.
Yeah, and to get a full understanding of what, he's built and what we're talking about, you really have to go out and see that first episode, because everything, his whole sets, everything, the spaceship, everything is he made, like handmade.
Everything's practical on that. Yeah.
A few special effects, the laser gun and stuff, that kind of stuff was a few little CGI things, but everything as far as building wise, it was all him.
Yeah.
Matt, you're quiet. You're never quiet. What'd you think of the weekend?
I'm just sitting here contemplating the traitor to our species sitting to my left.
He's still brooding on it.
It'll never go away.
Yeah.
It's just,
traitor to our species.
I'm
Jash.
Never going to play a game with Matt ever again.
No, it was a great time.
Yeah.
It was a great time. What? Ask me something.
I did. I'm going to ask kind of a roundtable question. You could have jumped in on that, but I just want to know what your overall thoughts of the weekend were here, and how you thought this year went compared to maybe past years or anything like that. Just talk.
Okay. Well, I felt that this year seemed much more low key than past years. Just overall in general, the vibe and whatnot, it just seemed to be more sort of chill and laid back. And maybe that's because I pawned off a lot of crap on Ben and Tom, and they were handling all this stuff, so I just got to chill and sit back. But this year felt a little just less intense for whatever reason. But overall, I thought it was good, just like I do every year. It's a fun time. Like I said, I don't really care about the festival in terms of whether or not I like it. It's whether or not the filmmakers like it. The festival's for them. It's not really for me. But yeah, I saw some cool films. I liked Mazel Toes a lot.
Oh, that was a good one.
That was a nice surprise. Was super fun. But I don't want to talk to the traitor for a long time, so I'll just wrap things up here.
That's cool. You have an announcement anyway, right?
I do.
I have
a couple.
Let's get through those.
So we do have dates for next year. And I learned that this morning, actually. I got a text this morning. Hold on. See, I'm important, Josh. Other people are texting me, so I'm trying to figure out, where...
You texted me with... I'm not that important.
Right. So, next year, October 11th, 12th, and 13th. That's going to be Prairie Lights 7. So, those dates are now set in stone. You will be able to, as of tomorrow, which is what date? The 15th?
15th.
You can go to the Film Freeway and start submitting your films now. I'm not sure. We were sort of having a discussion with somebody. I don't even remember what was going on last night because I was so angry. I was having a discussion with somebody about script bank stuff, anthologies, and of course I like to just talk off the top of my head. So this is subject to change, but I'm not sure. Oh, it was Benito. I'm not sure we may be doing the anthology projects next year the same way that we've been doing it this year, because over the years, obviously, I think we started maybe second year we did anthology projects. I don't know. It's been quite a while. At the time, we had a ton of scripts in the script bank, And that's been, over the course of the past 5 years, that's been pretty much whittled down to a group of scripts that every year nobody selects. Nobody wants to do them.
Or people select and don't do them.
That's the other thing. Yeah, people select them and then they end up having to drop out for a variety of reasons, not just because they're just mean people or anything, but life happens and stuff like that. So I don't really want to sort of send out the script bank in its current form and have a bunch of filmmakers try to select from something they don't want to do just to have something. So I'm going to change this up a little bit. I will brainstorm with Mark and Tom and Ben, and we're probably going to do something where we're going to allow the filmmakers themselves. Will give us sort of, here are the rules, so to speak, and then the filmmakers can sort of do what they want.
So kind of like a 48-hour film challenge almost.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Sort of. Is that copyright? I mean, have people done that before? No, I'm just kidding. So we'll be doing something along those lines. We have had a couple of discussions where we have I'm just going to announce it all.
Do it.
Because if I announce it, that means we have to do it.
Yeah, just go.
Okay, so we're going to be doing. We have a new project that's going to happen that Pete's going to be involved in. Hopefully, where he's going to write a script. We have 5, and this came into a discussion with Mark Timian when we were filming our.
It was beautiful, beautiful drunk talk.
Yeah, Mark Timian and I were very drunk on scotch after shooting Bed and Breakfast. Which was a short film that we shot a couple months ago, and we decided, when you're drunk, a drunk filmmaker, and you're sort of talking shit with each other. We all have egos. We brag about each other. So the concept came up, well, what if we all had the exact same script and we all directed the exact same story and then had people vote on who's better? Because Mark Timian was like, well, I'd blow your guys' asses out of the water. It wouldn't even be close. My film would be better. And then, of course, I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? So basically what we're going to do is the plan is Pete's going to write a 4-page script with like a maximum of 3 actors in 2 locations. We all, as directors, get the exact same actors. But we can do whatever we want within the confines of the script that he writes. So, and none of us are going to be allowed to work on each other's projects. So we have no idea. And then basically what's going to happen, and Pete brought this up, because I think we're going to get a total of 5 filmmakers. Benito is going to be one of them, I think. Timian, and DJ Sharton, who is if any of you have met DJ, he's a very egotistical and loudmouth braggart, and he thinks he can just dominate us. So he's going to be, and we're going to look for some other filmmakers as well. And then what we'll do is we will screen them all with no credits or anything like that for everybody, sort of in a block, and then we'll have the audience sort of just vote. Yeah. And then whichever filmmaker is voted, well, that was the best version of film, we'll have all-time bragging rights against all of their peers.
And you're not going to let the audience know whose film is who.
There'll be spoiler, mine will have Dutch angles, so you'll probably be able to figure it out.
So the non-competitive film festival has just become an ultra-competitive film festival.
Yes, for a specific thing. So we're going to try that. We're also toying with the idea of a lifetime achievement award for a certain person. I won't spoil who the person is right now, but taking clips of this person's various filmography works and putting it all together into its own interesting film. So having their characters interacting with other characters that they played from other movies, and then sort of having people come up on stage and give a little, friendly roast. Sort of like what I do with Josh on a daily basis, the traitor to his species. So we'll be doing stuff like that. And we have ideas for, we're going to see how it goes, but we have an idea for a celebrity next year that I'm going to look into. So
try to bring this celebrity in.
And this celebrity was somebody who lived in Nebraska for a long time as a kid and is very, very well known. And I'm going to reach out to this person, and they are a producer in their own right and have lots of new films, so we might do something with that. So we got lots of plans. Also, like I said, subject to change depending on anything that happens. Right. But and I'm not done. We will be screening Robo Mummy for sure.
Yeah. So not only is it Prairie Lights 7, we could very well be screening. The plan is to screen The Return of the Robo Mummy Part 7.
Yeah. And
nice.
and hopefully, Chills Down Your Spine, because we'll have the Western and everything shot. That'll be done as well. So that is something that might also screen depending on stuff. Yeah, Dead Lantern's very slow. We have a very slow process, but we have a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of other people that are making some really interesting things. It's going to be a big.
Well, Chills would have been done.
You're thumping the table and it's knocking all the microphones. There you go.
Good God. But yeah, so that's.
I'm just thinking about the listeners who are going, ouch, ouch, ouch.
Yeah. Well, I don't care about your. I'm start pounding on the table.
Should we? You got anything else?
I got to say, one observation I had for this year's festival is the amount of student films. And that to pursue that, I think even more, and maybe have a student block or something like that.
I've actually tried doing that. I went and met with Cinema 16. I got to their meeting, and whatnot, and in the years past, I wanted an actual UNL block.
Right.
But the issue is UNL is not very keen on promoting it as UNL filmmakers because they have their own film festivals and stuff that are specific to UNL students. So for this year. On the Film Freeway, I told UNL students who were interested, I'm like, please make a note that this is a student film from UNL, because I don't know many of these people. I have no idea if they're students or not. So that is something we've tried to do in the past. I would like to do that a little bit more. And I was actually very impressed with the amount of female filmmakers that were in Nebraska that submitted this year, because there was a lot. And normally we don't get very many filmmakers, and that's why we sort of wanted to have a block to sort of spotlight them and whatnot. So it was cool. Just the amount of people, new people who are sort of making things is kind of cool. Because there was a lot of films this year. I had no idea who these filmmakers were. I'd never even heard of them before.
Yeah.
And we were putting their stuff up there. So it was very, very cool.
Awesome.
Cool. Let's just wrap with some plugs. Does anybody want to have anything to plug? Plug away. I'm out of plugs. I've been plugging Prairie Lights for like
364 days.
Yeah. So my plug is officially off the table until next year for Prairie Lights. But anybody else got anything they want to put out there? Silence, crickets.
Go ahead, Mark.
I'm good. I was waiting.
You're good? Okay. I will plug I do think it's interesting to sort of watch the creative process of filmmakers, and it used to be one thing where I would not ever show anybody anything. It was basically me, and then you'd have to wait 3 years until the movie was done. But I've changed up for Chills Down Your Spine this thing a little bit. If anybody out there is interested in watching post-production process of a local film being created, every Monday night at 7:30, DJ and I are doing a Google Hangouts where we're doing live post-production of Chills Down Your Spine. And I'm totally fine with people jumping on and sort of like participating and throwing in their feedback and stuff like that. We've actually had some success in the past doing that, where people will just pop on at 8:30 and they're like, "Well, what are you guys doing?" Well, here, why don't you go to Free Sounds and find a sound that is like feet squishing against wet grass or something like that, and then like, oh, okay, and it's something very simple that someone can do who's not a filmmaker, and just sort of chat with filmmakers, see how the process is done, because you can watch as we're editing it and removing exit signs from things, and you can learn that way, and you can sort of like yell at me and say, "Matt, that sucked. Why did you do that? Maybe you should change that." So 7:30 p.m. on Monday nights from now until probably right before Prairie Lights, when we finally finish everything. You can do that. If you're interested, you can send me a Facebook message and I can get you the Google Hangouts link. And I'll send the Google Hangouts link to you guys, and then you guys can post it if you want.
Excellent. That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, again, I just want to encourage everybody. Sorry, Patrick, I blew it out again. I can't get further back from the mic. I want to encourage everybody that's at least an aspiring filmmaker, or if you got a film out there, Film Freeway, you said opens tomorrow?
Yep, on the 15th, and like I said, there's no submission fees or anything.
Yeah, it's free.
And one other thing, because I like to talk, Josh. Sorry.
You're cool, man.
One thing is, every year we've been getting a ton of entries. And so we had this problem last year. I think we talked on a podcast, or one of the years I was on here, where we're getting so many entries now that it's becoming impossible to program everything. And I would highly encourage people, if you have a movie, even if it wasn't selected this year, because, hey, I mean, we had a lot, just resubmit it, okay? Resubmit your films in the past that maybe didn't get selected. And if you have a film, please do not wait 9 months before you decide to just click on Film Freeway and hit submit. Because, you know, that was something that happened. We had some filmmakers submitting right at the last minute, and it was like, well, we can't do it anymore. Usually how the process goes is we start programming stuff sort of in our heads well in advance. We don't just wait till the last minute and then start programming things around. So stuff starts getting plugged in, and we need to have that content up front as much as possible so that we can sort of start plugging things in where they need to go. So submit early, submit often, like a Chicago voter.
Submit now. Patrick, you got to do your plug, man.
I'll make this quick. Everybody, help us out. Make sure that you head on over to iTunes or whatever service you're listening to this podcast on and review and rate us. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Player FM, and many, many more. You can check us out online. Find us on Twitter at MFrightcast. Follow us and join the conversation in our Facebook group at Midnight Frightcast. And you can also find us on Instagram. So share, and share some more. Post it on your walls and tell your friends. And also be sure to check out our films at midnightfrightfilms.com. You can find us on YouTube as well, Midnight Fright Films.
Okay, cool. Greg, you're going to do your plug?
My name is Greg the Movie Guy, and I am the best movie reviewer that you have never heard of. I write movie reviews with a positive spin over at gregthemovieguy.com. I've been a little quiet recently. That's because I am diving deep into horror movie madness for the month of October. I hope to get something up there here soon, but if I'm quiet in October, you at least know why. So jump on over, see what I've got posted on there. That is gregthemovieguy.com.
For myself and Patrick and Greg and Peter and Mark and Matt, thanks for hanging out with us all weekend. We will see you next year.